As you know, for the second part, we will stick to English, just to be easier for our international guests. I hope the team will put again the agenda to see who's coming. Anyhow, we will start with a very dear friend of mine, but also a key top executive of BYD. He is one of the guys next to Stella Lee making real build your dreams. It's a fact that the entrance of BYD in Romania, it's like a storm, in spite of the local conditions, which, as we already saw, is not so good. However, Jose Miranda, which is the global marketing guru of the company, accepted this invitation to be here. So I invite him to join me on stage to deliver his speech. Please.
Thank you. Well, I am very happy to be here. This is my second time here in the country, in Bucharest. And why? Because even the name of our address in my office in Chile is Bucharest. And always when I am here, I'm feeling home. You know, well, we have the presentation ready. Well, I want to share with you some highlights about us. We are talking about BYD. BYD, the name is Build Your Dreams. And the good thing is that this dream now is real. It's not only a dream. And I like to share with you some important highlights about this. Well, recently in Papenburg, in September, we received this worldwide record. This is the U9 Extreme Limited Edition. This is the fastest car of the planet and come from BYD. This is the capability of BYD. This is an example of our technology. The record was 496.22 kilometers per hour. This is possible because this car has more than 3,000 horsepower. And this car now is not on a prototype. You know, this is a car that is real, that is available in the market, and was done for a group of engineers from BYD. This past year, we are pleased to announce that BYD has risen to number 91st or 91 on the Fortune Global 500 list. You see that it's a big, job in these 30 years, of the company, but we are doing a very good job, not only with the brand, not only with our technology, even, with our commitment, in sustainability, and we can review some data here. But BYD is a global leader in new energy technology company. We are not talking about only passenger cars. We are on a company that is part of the global, of the complete ecosystem. We have business in acquisition, in solar panel. We have business in storage, in energy storage, and we have business, of course, in green transportation. Even we are the first and only company worldwide to provide a full portfolio of new energy solutions or energy vehicles. You can see here that we call 7+4+2. This is all our portfolio available that is not only passenger cars. Even you can see that in my country, in Chile, we have more than 1,000 electric buses, or in the UK, in London, the double-decker electric buses come from BYD. This is the reason that is why BYD is so unique, because it's not only about passenger cars. It's a technology company with a full portfolio, and that is part of the complete ecosystem. And some figures. BYD today, with the data until September of this year, is the third company around the world in the total auto industry. And this is the reason that I mentioned that it's not now a dream. This is real. And now we are the number one in the total auto industry in new energy vehicles. In vehicles in electric cars and PHEV, we are the number one. And in the total auto industry, even with our competitors in IC cars, we are the third company around the world. And a lot of this success, come from overseas. And this is the reason that I am here. I spend three countries my average is 3 countries per week. I come from Chile, but I need to fly in a couple of hours to Barcelona because our work is in this way. We don't have, time to lose. We need to try to spend time in our market to understand the society. Overseas is very important for us. Until now, we sold more than 785,000, units this year, and almost the double of 2024. Another example, it took to BYD 13 years, to try to achieve, 1 million, the first 1 million units sold. And here we have an example that, in Brazil, a couple of weeks ago, we launched, our 14 million units sold, and our new factory in South America. And we are very proud of this. Now, practically, we have 1 million per quarter, units sold. This is something that we call the BYD speed. And we know that the globalization is fundamental, and in the process of this globalization, we need to bring our technology, to our market, to more close to our market. This is the reason that in Brazil we launched and we entered into operation recently, in Brazil, the new factory, and now we are working to bring and to open our new factory in Hungary, in Europe. And this is something, it's only the beginning, because we know very well that we come from China, but we know very well too that we need to bring, our technology to our market. But I follow today 80 markets, and all the people ask me when we are in the beginning in some market, who is BYD? And always I mention BYD is a technology company made by engineers. This is BYD. And why is so unique? What means this? Today, BYD has more than 120,000 engineers only in R&D. We have an average of 45 patents per working day. Each day, we have an average of 45 patent applications. We have around 1 million employees, and we have 120,000 only in R&D. This is the reason that you can see here an amazing product, the BYD Sea Lion 7 or the BYD Seal, because we have the best technology in the world. This is the reason that we are the #3 company in the world and the #1 in new energy vehicles. And I love the soccer, and always I mention, and this is a soccer game. The first half was the electrification, to try to bring the electromobility to our market. And we know very well that now the second half is the intelligence. We know that we need to bring intelligent innovation and technology to our market. And you can see here in this video about our autonomous technology and a big example about our capability in this intelligent innovation. We can see.
Is this all? No, there's more. Nighttime Autonomous Racetrack Challenge. When night falls, can it still achieve precise control while racing autonomously on the track?
this is the capability of BYD. This is a reason that is so important for us, our team of R&D. And now, when we talk about our daily life, the intelligent technology, now with one button, we can have, the valet parking. And we don't need to be aware, afraid or worry about to the valet parking or to try to park in your car in the shopping mall, because now with a button, the car can do this, without the driver. And this is the kind of technology that is not prototype. It's technology that today is available, in the different market, and probably soon is available here in Romania. And we know that other important topic is the flash charging. We know that charge the car take time. For this reason, we bring this new technology that was launched in China, and we are working to bring this to Europe now soon. Is a flash charging super e-platform that you have 400 kilometers in only 5 minutes. Each, practically second, you have 2 kilometers. We don't have excuse now. That practically we have the same time that you charge your IC car, now you charge, your electric cars or PHEV cars. And this is something huge and very important. I am totally sure the game changer, for our customer. Our goal is to bring this, from this charge station, around 6,000 in overseas for the next year. And we believe a lot that this is very important for our customer. Our strategy, is about to bring the best technology in electric cars, full electric cars, and PHEV. In PHEV, we call this technology dual mode intelligence or super hybrid. Why? Because you have today with the CLU DMI here in the country, we have more than 1,000 kilometers of range. You can go to practically different cities with this kind of range. I can show you an example too. And today we have more than 7 millions, 7.3 millions of DMI customer around the world. Because we believe that the electric cars is not enough, and the PHEV is probably the transition of many of our customers that need a long range, of cars. And this is something very successful. And you can see here an example with the CLU DMI, that you have more than 1,000 kilometers of range. You can go to Bucharest, to Vienna, with one charge. This is technology that, again, is not prototype. This technology is available in our showroom. You can buy today this car, and this is one of the best-selling, PHEV or super hybrid cars that we have in Europe. And now some figures, because we are talking about technology, innovation, but what happened with the result? And you can see here that in America, in Latin America, we start practically 3-4 years ago. I have around 4 years in the company, and we start 3-4 years ago to sell cars in Brazil, in Mexico, and now we are the #1 in all the markets in PHEV and EV cars, and in the total auto industry, we are the #8 in Brazil and #7 in Mexico. Remember that Mexico and Brazil is countries with more than 100 million of population. And today, BYD is very successful. And of course, that this country in the beginning was very complicated with the infrastructure, because they don't have a lot of infrastructure for charge the cars, etc. But finally, today, the people, don't have doubt that electromobility is part of the future. And we can see what happened here in Europe. Now we repeat the same, wave now. The same situation in Europe. We can see that in UK, in Spain, in Germany, this year by year, we grow more than 500%. 500%. And even in Italy, more than 1,000%. This is the BYD speed. And when we see now Middle East, because I follow now Middle East too, we can see the same. In UAE, we are growing more than 200%. In Morocco, we are the #1. We are doing a very good job in practically all the market around the world. Different habit of people, different customer, different culture. But finally, BYD is there, and our technology is very successful. We believe a lot that to combat the climate change is about us. Depends, about many partners, and we are doing our job. We believe that we are changing the world with electromobility, with green solutions, in the full ecosystem, not only in passenger cars, in energy storage. Remember, with batteries, because we are in our DNA, is the technology of batteries. Our blade battery in the car is made by BYD. It's the most sophisticated and safe battery in the world. And this makes the difference a lot. Our mission is to cool the earth by 1 degree. Everything that we are doing in our market is with this mission, not only to sell cars, not only to achieve the target, is to cool the earth by 1 degree. This is the reason that we call BYD, Build Your Dreams. This is our dreams. And our commitment with sustainability is very strong. 100 carbon neutrality across the entire value chain by 2045. It's very strong. Remember that we are a public company, and sustainability is something very relevant, important for us. And what does this mean? No? More than 100 billion kilograms carbon emissions saved. This is the reason that our mission is the core of our business. We are very concerned about the customer experience, but we are very concerned about our planet. And we know that we can do this, and we need to do this together. And before to finish, we want to say that we want Romania to be part of this new global era of mobility. Our commitment is very strong. We need to build, the trust with our customer, with our local customer. We are in the process to build a strong local team. We need to build our brand, the perception of the brand. We need to tell our storytelling. We need to find good partners that help us to tell the story, from China, from BYD, because it's very successful and it's very aligned with the interests of our customer today, and deliver the best technology and innovation that practically makes sense to our people. This is the reason that we say, this is not a car, this is a BYD. I can show you in a video, and thank you for this invitation.
Thank you very much. It was absolutely spectacular, all the presentation. And maybe now we started to understand better why BYD is so successful all around the world. Thank you for some parts, especially you mentioned about the autonomous. And thank you for introducing the fastest car on the planet. My only question, because I'm an engineer myself, was how did you manage to keep the car on the ground, not to fly? Because the flying will be dead, the one. And not to mention that the car was able to repeat the performance, of course less, even autonomous. Thank you very much, Jose, for all the speech. Thank you, Andrei. I don't see you where we are. Andrei Duca is there because he was working heavily. By the way, Andrei, thank you very much for your support on this forum. Now, quickly to the next speaker, which is not only a personality of the industry, a dear friend of APIA, which is Olivier Fontaine, the technical director of OICA, Organizației Internaționale a Constructorilor, which is now having the chance to talk about autonomous because it was just provoked by Jose with the performance of autonomous. What we saw is real, is not a prototype. I repeat what he said. That would be amazing. Ladies and gents, Olivier, please. you want to speak over there? Anyway, this is for presentation. Up to you.
So does it work? Yes. Okay. Thank you very much, Dan. So I'm very pleased to be here today. Very honored as well. So I'm the technical director of OICA, and I will give you some technical direction and not political direction as we had this morning. Dan, I'm sorry that you were saying that I would talk about flying cars. Actually, I didn't include that in my presentation, but I can tell you two things about the flying cars. First, we have to pay attention that the energy which is used for sustain the car in the air is the same as we have to triumph against the gravity. So that's an acceleration of 9.8 meters per square seconds. So it's like, if you make it horizontal, it's like accelerating by 9.8 meters per square seconds. So that's the acceleration of a Ferrari, actually. So we can do it, but for making it, then we need some very low-cost energy or a lot of money. And the second thing I would like to say, we are talking about flying cars. We heard very much about the cars today, but we should not forget the trucks. The trucks are very important for the economy of a country. So now I will start my presentation about the UN regulatory mechanism and the trends, because you were asking me to talk about the regulatory trends in the world, in the international bodies. So I will talk about how we will export the UNECE model. So my presentation will be in three parts. So first I will present a little bit what is OICA, because usually nobody knows it. So after we'll talk about the UN regulatory system. That's an item which is not very well known, but which is very important because the regulations very much dimension and shape the vehicles more than, or at least as much as the competition. And then we'll talk about the trends exporting the UNECE regulatory model. So who is OICA? So Dan, you had a very good definition about OICA. If you know the soccer, you know the FIFA, and OICA is the FIFA of the automobile. So we are the federation of the federations. We have 35 members from all the countries, so 35 federations of vehicle manufacturers. Actually, it's more than that because Chile was the last newcomer, together with New Zealand. Also, the German importers will join OICA. So this figure here is a little bit obsolete. And so, of course, we cover all the major vehicle manufacturers, so including BYD. BYD is a member of OICA through the National Association CAM. And we are the only NGO accredited to the United Nations to represent the worldwide vehicle manufacturers. So what are our main activities? Mainly the regulations. That's for the moment about 90% of our activities. We do statistics. We distribute the auto show calendars around the world. And we have some position papers. So for example, the decarbonization position paper that was presented by Dan early this morning, and also the OICA manifesto, which is a quite dimensioning document as well. So the second part of my presentation about the UN regulatory mechanism. So that's maybe new for you. So I will try to be pedagogue. So you see these two little vehicles. They would like to enter, for example, the Japanese market or the American market, the Korean market, the Chinese, the European, or the Russian, and 20 other markets. And actually, they are wondering, how should I look like to go in those markets? And actually, those markets are quite fragmented. It's difficult for a manufacturer cannot build the same vehicle for going in all those markets. So, and that fragmentation of the market is detrimental to the national authorities because they don't know actually which vehicle enters the market. They have to spend resources in checking the vehicles and check whether they comply with the national rules. For the manufacturers, as I described, because they have to build a vehicle different for each of the markets, and for the final users, of course, because of the two first these benefits. And the solution to that is the United Nations. At the United Nations, we have created a platform of discussion for harmonizing the regulations. So that's the center of the worldwide harmonization. Now, how does it work? Actually, it's like a supermarket where a country, so the little man here is a country, and he wants to do his shopping for having some standards to apply nationally in his country. So he just wonder what kind of regulation should I take for passive safety, for emissions, for noise, for the lighting systems. And actually, when he see what he wants, he takes a batch of regulations, and he just take it and go back. He goes back to his country to implement that nationally, to implement those regulations nationally. So there are two big benefits there. First, it's free of charge because those regulations, they exist. They were produced already by the international community in the past. And then the second beauty of that is that it is totally worldwide, totally international. So those standards are recognized worldwide. Now, the third part of my presentation about the trends and the actually the main trend for the moment at the United Nations is to export the model to other countries. So very fast, basically we have within this UN platform we have two big treaties, so the 58th agreement and the 98th agreement. The 58th agreement was created first for the European countries, but it progressively expanded. Japan was the first non-European country to sign the 58th agreement, but now it is joined by Japan, Korea, Australia, Turkey, etc. But as you can see, we are missing some big important countries there. USA, China, India are not part of that. And that's why we created in 1998 the 1998 agreement, which was initiated to be a truly international agreement, which is currently signed by 40 countries, and where we can have some countries like USA, Canada, China, India, etc. Now, is it really a global platform with these two agreements? Actually, not really, because there are some countries that are still missing, like the South American countries, most of the African countries, some of the Asian countries are missing as well, so Malaysia, Indonesia are not part of that platform, and so that means that they are missing the benefits of this UN platform. And so the benefits of expanding the model is that by joining this international platform, you benefits of United Nations expertise in global regulations and in harmonization. We have, as I've shown in the supermarket analogy, we have some harmonized requirements. So we level, thanks to those this harmonization, we can level the performance requirements of the vehicles worldwide, and so that permits also the countries and then the users in each of the countries to have a high level of safety, of emissions, of security. That's decreasing also the administrative burden for the authorities. that permits some scale economies for the manufacturers, and then last but not least, the users will benefit of that. So what are the instruments to permit that? So that's maybe a little bit technical, but first we have to make the UNEC working system known in all continents. So that's a kind of that's a matter of communication, and we have to promote some legal instruments. So communication, we will organize some sessions out of the United Nations Palais des Nations in Geneva, because that's where the UNECE is based. So we already organized a meeting in Bangkok. We'll do the same in Santiago de Chile. That's why I was quite interested to see the BYD representative here, because he's based in Chile. We'll have also a meeting, a very important meeting in Canada in May 2026. And the main instruments, that's maybe quite technical, but the main instrument is the 𝐝𝐤𝐬𝐫𝒂𝒃𝒊𝒍𝒊 scheme, which is a kind of homologation scheme that exists already here in Europe, so that it's totally established. That's the whole vehicle type approval regime or system that permits to have a mutual recognition within Europe on all the vehicles that are sold. And the OICA manifesto, which is a manifesto whereby we well explain the necessity to let all the elements of the chain of road safety to improve. In terms of vehicle safety, we are already at a very high level here in Europe, but the infrastructure is very important, and also the human behavior, so the user behavior. So that brings me to my conclusions. First, so OICA is the worldwide manufacturer representative. We have some regulatory expertise, and we have a network, a worldwide network. The UN regulatory mechanism is beneficial to all, so that means for the final users first, but also for the authorities and for the manufacturers. And there is a real interest for, I would say, all stakeholders to make the UNEC truly global via communication and via some legal instruments. So I arrived to the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention, and Dan, I give you back the mic.
So now it's the moment to go a bit deeper into the automotive large industry. And we will now start to explore other parts, not only the car manufacturers. And as I said, somehow in the morning, the batteries are becoming a part of the future. As a matter of fact, I remember an engineer, very well-known automotive engineer in a very well-known car company of Germany, told me, Dan, when I was young, I was focused on horsepowers, torque, speed, acceleration. My life was that. I was treating batteries as an engineer like shit. Who cares about batteries? He told me. Back then, the philosophy of designing cars in some companies was, let's design the engine. Let's make it perfect. And then we design the car around the engine, because of course the engine is the heart of the car. Guess what? Today, the heart of the car is the battery. Nobody's talking about engines anymore. It's so dramatical change. So we are lucky because I convinced Robin Zeng, which is the founder and chairman of CATL, the largest company in the world in terms of batteries for cars, and not only for cars, to be here represented by Matt Shen. Thank you, Matt, which is, I told you, the president of European operations of 𝐝𝐤𝒂𝒂𝒊, and also the overseas president. So, Matt, the floor is yours.
Okay. So, thank you very much, Dan. So, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very happy to be here to join this sustainable and affordable mobility forum. This gathering is a testament to Romania's leadership and commitment to build a sustainable, efficient, and inclusive mobility ecosystem. At 𝒐𝒖𝒊, we share this vision, and we are also proud to contribute our expertise, innovation, and global experience to advancing clean energy and sustainable mobility solutions. Here is a quick fact of our company, so because maybe some of you don't so familiar with us. 𝒐𝒖𝒊 is a global leader in innovation in new energy technologies. We are founded in 2011, very new. We have a single mission to provide a premium solution and a service that enable the global transition to renewable energy and sustainable mobility. We only have 14 years history, but to recall the technology history, we have around 26 years. With the brother company ATL, we have 25 years expertise in battery development and manufacturing. This experience enables us to consistently mass produce high-quality cells, a technical achievement that makes us a trusted and reliable partner for the automotive industry worldwide. From the outset, our focus has been on replace fossil energy, both stationary and mobile, building an ecosystem of green energy and forming strong partnerships to support a cleaner and more sustainable future. Innovation, quality, and reliability remain the core of everything we do. So this is the layout in Europe, what we are doing in Europe. Europe has always been a strategic priority for 𝒐𝒐𝒊. So since 2018, we have made significant investment to expand our presence on this continent. The first is manufacturing facility in Thuringia, Germany. So this marked as a start of this journey. To complement this production, we established a very big testing and validation center in Erfurt, investing around 13 million euro in this advanced instrument, and in the near future, we will double this in Erfurt. In 2022, we announced a 7 billion euro investment in our second Europe facility in Debrecen, Hungary, with a maximum capacity of 100 GWh, strengthening our ability to serve the European market efficiently. Then last year, in cooperation with Stellantis Group, we announced a third facility in Spain, focusing on lithium iron phosphate, LFP, batteries. This plant is scheduled to be operate from end of next year. Beyond the infrastructure, we are committed to developing local talent, partner with universities and also technical schools in Germany, Hungary, also in Spain. We have launched vocational training programs to train the engineers and the technicians for the energy transition. By transfer critical know-how, we not only scale up the capacity in Europe, but also strengthen Europe's technical ecosystem. Our global expansion also reflects our ability to respond to the market demand. In the Q3 2025, CATL reported a total revenue of 13.9 billion euro, up 12.9% year-over-year increase. Our solid finance foundation supports intensive R&D investment and large-scale capacity expansion. So we talk about the technology. You see, we have the LFP technology, NCM, and also very hot topic regarding of the sodium. So in 2013, we began enhanced LFP chemistry, significantly improving the energy density. Then it's possible to use this technology in the electrical bus. We cooperate with the biggest bus company in the world to have this first generation electrical bus. Today, we already have maybe the 5th or the 6th generation of this. So in the same year, we also advanced NCM chemistry with improved energy density and thermal stability for mass-produced passenger vehicle. Over just 12 years, the energy density of our battery system increased from 90 watt-hour per kilogram to more than 250 watt-hour per kilogram, almost triple in last 12 years. So furthermore, our solid-ion battery have passed China's new national standards, become the world's first certified sodium-ion product. These batteries excel in low-temperature performance, safety, and also carbon footprint, while reducing dependence on lithium resource. Yes, this is more recently in Munich, IAA, September, we introduced the new product, NP 3.0 technology and Shenxing Pro battery, a global breakthrough in power battery safety and performance. This is also CATL's first product with specific design for Europe. We don't have this product in China. So integrating 8 core technologies together, NP 3.0 ensures uninterrupted high voltage performance. Means there was no drive loss and no visible flames or even no smoke under extreme thermal conditions, providing critical safety support for level 3 and above autonomous driving. Ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about the sustainable mobility, we are not only talking about the vehicles, we are talking about the entire ecosystem that supports them. To make electrical mobility truly sustainable, we must ensure that the energy in power, it is also clean. This is where energy storage plays a very important role here. It is not enough to electrify cars or buses if the electricity itself is unstable, carbon intensive. To create a sustainable mobility system, we must think about energy storage as the backbone of the entire energy and mobility ecosystem. Energy storage has been also a heart of CATL's strategy. From very beginning, I also give an example. In 2011, when we first set up this company, we participate in the 𝒌𝒊 energy storage project. That at that time is the world's largest integrated wind solar storage transition demonstration project. This pioneer project combined renewable generation with large-scale storage and grid integration, a vision ahead its time. I give a number. This project is still running after 15 years. It's still running very smoothly. So this demonstrating CATL's commitment to long-term performance, safety, and durability. Building on this foundation, CATL has continuously innovated across materials, design, and manufacturing. We are implementing a multi-level safety architecture from cell chemistry to module design and complete system integration. Through a lot of testing and validation, we have reduced our cell failure rate from ppm to ppb, means from 1 per million to 1 to billion. 1 billion. This is not only a number, this is a global benchmark for safety and reliability. Ensure that our energy storage system can operate with confidence across a wide range of industrial, commercial, utility applications. Since 2019, CATL has significantly scaled our efforts and investments in overseas energy storage system. We now have a comprehensive product portfolio that addresses both front-of-meter grid-scale product and also behind-the-meter commercial and industrial applications. Our solutions began with liquid-cooled DC system designed for high reliability and flexibility across global market. On the DC side, CATL has developed multiple generations of DC blocks, each building on the last with improved energy density, thermal management, and compatibility with various PCS and EMS. From the flexible outdoor rated rack system NR1 to the standard 20-foot container system NC, we have provided a scalable solution for a wide range of scenarios. So the latest generation with tenor stake we just launched this summer achieves up to 9 million megawatt-hour capacity per unit, representing a significant step forward in energy density, modularity, and integration for European and global market. Yeah. In the AC side, our solution has also seen remarkable adoptions. CATL has deployed more than 1,700 projects worldwide, working with most major PCS brands. Specific in Eastern Europe alone, we have delivered over 3 gigawatt-hour projects. Among these, 800 megawatt-hour is already in operation. CATL has contracted over 35 gigawatt-hour as an integrator, with 6.8 gigawatt-hour currently under shipping and 5.3 gigawatt-hour already in operation. Yeah, this is also an interesting topic. To ensure our system meets the most complex energy storage requirements, CATL has invested a world first high voltage grid connection testing lab, capable of 35,000 volt and 50 megawatt. This facility allows us to configure DC block with multiple PCS and EMS combinations. Because we have this kind of system level approach that enable us to deliver reliable, fully integrated energy storage solutions in challenging real-world conditions. With this expertise, CATL has delivered over 265 gigawatt-hour of battery and integrated system by 2024. These include standalone projects, solar coupled and wind coupled project, as well as grid service such as frequency regulation, peak shaving, and renewable energy smoothing. Yeah. So CATL's vision goes beyond this. We are building a one-stop solution for the entire battery life cycle, leveraging our global manufacturing bases, recycling facility, service center, and logistic facilities. We are establishing a long-term strategy to cover every stage of battery life cycle, from the material, production, maintenance, and end-of-life recycling. This approach ensures that our solution remains safe, reliable, and sustainable, supporting the transition to a zero-carbon economy. Today, 𝑭𝒐𝒊's innovation extend across EVs, stationary energy storage system, new electrification technologies. We are also expanding into fast charging, battery swapping, electrified ports, electrified vessels, aircraft, robots, and energy storage solutions, all aimed at creating a zero-carbon ecosystem. So finally, this is a very good position for us to support. We talk about Romania. We also think about how could we work in here. So we are thinking that this electricity, the power plant, this kind of system in Romania, maybe we have the big chance to working together to support Romania's energy transition. So Romania's growing commitment to the renewable energy, grid modernization, and industrial decarbonization offers a huge opportunities for us. So 𝒐𝒊 is eager to bring our technology, global experience, and local partnership to help Romania build a resilient, low-carbon energy infrastructure. From this renewable energy stabilization output to supporting EV charging networks and industrial energy management, 𝒐𝒊's battery storage solution can become a core pillar of Romania's clean energy ecosystem, helping the country achieve its 2030 climate and energy target efficiently and sustainably. Ladies and gentlemen, at 𝒐𝒊, we understand that the energy transition is a shared mission. It requires collaboration across industrial countries and sectors, a vision that aligned perfectly with Europe's sustainability goals. Through innovation, investment, and partnership, we are committed to building a clean, safe, and more efficient mobility future. Together with government, industrial, and communities, we can accelerate this transition to renewable energy, enhance sustainable mobility, and deliver a huge benefits for generations to come. So thank you for your attention and for sharing this journey towards a green future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matt, for your very interesting presentation, and thank you for the message to the Romanian business and the Romanian industry, which is, I would say myself, but I'm pretty sure everybody will agree, is very much appreciated. So now let's go to the part of the transportation, because it's also, as we discussed in the morning several times, the transportation is becoming more and more important. And my joke in APIA together with my colleagues is this always. No matter how much I will drive in Bucharest a day, I cannot match how much a taxi is driving or a BYD is driving, if it's on a taxi or it's just a private person or whatever car. It's a big difference. So the pollution is relying on the transportation more than us as citizens. It's very important. So because of that, thanks to Claudia, which is our dear member of the board representing MAN in Romania, we have here Jens, which is, you will see, also equally young and dynamic. And as I said, Jens is the vice president of MAN in our region. So Jens, be quick and smart, like we are needed because the time is pushing. Thank you very much for your understanding.
Then, good afternoon. I take over, and I would like to take you with me on a journey on electrification, a journey that started more than 260 years back, actually, where the origins of MAN lie, and more than 100 years of experience that we have in commercial vehicles. But before we start technology, let's first have a look on transportation itself. If we look at transportation, one stands out. Trucks matter. Trucks are actually the backbone of today's modern economies, in both in terms of transport volume, but also in performance. And that's why if you want to decarbonize transportation, you need to start decarbonizing trucks. So hence, once you have understood the size of the problem that we have to solve, the next question comes up, which is what is the right technology that can deliver on scale and that is ready to be deployed rapidly. And I have here a simplified chart that shows how energy, primary energy, is being converted. And as you can clearly see, battery electric trucks is the way to go because it offers the best ratio of energy efficiency and also costs. That's why we at MAN have taken the clear decision for a BEV first strategy. However, of course, we don't take it as a religious question. There will be complementary solutions that we also offer such as hydrogen. Right. Now the question comes up, and I had good discussions in the coffee break here. Is this technology really ready? Is it ready to the market? And that chart will give you the answer. We have already, talking today, delivering trucks day by day in Europe. We have orders in the thousands where we deliver trucks with already achieving daily ranges of up to 800 kilometers in a long-haul application, in a one-shift application. Yeah, we use the charging brakes to recharge the batteries, and here we already offer CCS charging, but also megawatt charging. So it means you can order all those technologies already today, and we will ship it to you in a couple of weeks. And we already had very good impulses of where the technology will lead us in the next couple of years. And if we look forward from an OEM perspective, we see that ranges will increase significantly, charging times will go down, and costs will come down. So then, of course, it's not just about talking and having one nice flagship model that you offer. If we want to deploy it in great scale, you need to have applications. You must master applications from local distribution segments over construction, over long-haul applications. And that's what we already offer in our portfolio today. With the electrified portfolio that we offer our customers today, we cater for around 60% of all the use cases that our customers have to deal with or is asking us on a daily basis. And it's not just those kind of trucks. We also offer solutions for special applications such as dangerous goods and long-haul applications. Right. If we talk about new technologies, then I like this slide because it talks about the hidden arguments of electrification that sometimes are not so clear unless you really dig into it. And it's three core arguments: dynamic pricing, recuperation, and energy self-sufficiency. If you look at the total cost of ownership that our customers need to manage, you see that around 50% of the costs are down to carburetes and tolls. And both of those cost factors you can tackle with wise management on your own. You tackle energy cost, you tackle tolls. We had exemptions in many European countries for tolls for battery electric trucks. And of course, many of our customers already deploy their own solar panels. They are becoming their own generators of energy. Hence, they attack a big portion of the costs. Second is recuperation. One thing I love. I took example of a case of one of the main transportation routes in Europe, going all the way down from Germany, going down to Austria, over the Alps, down to Italy. And if you look at the topography profile, you see that, of course, we have very intense topography. However, that benefit actually electric trucks, because once we go downhill, we regenerate. And if, taking this example, we generate up to 40% of the electricity. So it's like somebody is filling up your truck with diesel once you're down again. And that makes trucks that efficient. And then it comes to dynamic pricing. I'm not sure what's the actual situation in Romania, but in many European countries, electricity prices go up and down during the day. And if you manage wisely and you use the curve in your favor, you are able to achieve very low energy costs. I love this slide. All right. Now, if we talk about a good product, of course, that's just one piece in a puzzle that we need to get right. There are three other factors. It's infrastructure, it's renewable energy, and it's the total cost of ownership to our customers. And I would like to dig deeper into one of the factors, because it is oftenly mentioned also today as one of the critical factors to make battery electric vehicles work. It's the infrastructure. By 2030, we need megawatt charging infrastructure in the thousands deployed in Europe. And you can say approximately half of the charging stations we need on the road, and roughly half in depots or in customer facilities. And now it's not just talking us about and asking policymakers to listen to us, to support. It's also us being very active in that sense. Along with our fierce competitors, Volvo and Daimler, we took an initiative, founding a joint venture called Mylens, to deploy fast charging infrastructure across Europe, with the first charging stations already working. Also, we electrify our own service network. And one point our CEO always likes to mention, we partner also, of course, with partners such as football clubs, because they have the ideal, most of the time, ideal situation, because they have football games going on, I don't know, 20 times a year, 30 times a year. They have big parking lots, they have good electricity connection, and they make good charging spots for trucks and buses. All right, you asked me to be quick. I was quick. No, just some points that I would like you to take away. So if we want to decarbonize transportation, we need to decarbonize trucks. Battery electric trucks is the way to go because of cost and energy efficiency. Hydrogen as a complementary solution. Then products are available. And I'm glad to ask or to answer any questions when it comes to our portfolio. I will be here later also. And fourth, and most important, we need to deploy infrastructure also with the support of policymakers to make decarbonization for our industry work. So, thank you very much.
You may remember, at least some of you, that just, I think 2 years ago, was a competitor of MAN delivering a presentation. Compared with what Jens told us, it's amazing. It's a huge difference. I remember back then was just one truck, that's all. Now they have a portfolio. I remember when Elon Musk launched the Semi, it was about 400 kilometers. Now it's double. 2 years. It's amazing how things are developing, even in this subject where, of course, having batteries for long range in a truck it's always complicated because you add a lot of tons, a lot of kilos. Now, let's go to the next, talking about batteries. Why not to continue? And let me invite you to hear the presentation of Mr. Chris Ivanov, which is the EV Charging Regional Sales Manager, South and Eastern Europe of Sungrow. Chris, if you need it, it's here. Yes, thank you.
Hello, guys. Lovely to see you. Congrats for those of you that stuck with it and stayed till the end. So my name is Chris Ivanov. I'm the sales manager for EV charging in Southern Eastern Europe. And let me tell you a little secret. Before, when we got invited for this event, I had a little dilemma. I was actually wondering, should I present you the usual marketing slides that, you know, we are this, we are doing that, that our lovely marketing team prepared for me, or that I fulfill my job, which is to try and provide value to you in the form of knowledge. So, just bear with me. Some corporate slides. Who are Sungrow? Sungrow, it's a company that's been founded almost 30 years ago. It's one of the world's largest PV inverter manufacturer. In the case of Romania, we have about 45% market share for PV utility scale PV inverters. Total staff is about 17,000 people, 40% of them in R&D. We have more than 100 countries with our equipment, and the first DC charger installed in Europe was actually 2022, so 3 years ago, and globally we have about 15,000 DC chargers. So let's get to the value that I want to add to the discussion and to reward you all for staying around as long as you have. Earlier, we heard some of the people in the morning saying that, yes, the grid cannot take it, it's too expensive, Romanians don't have enough money to buy new cars, there is always an issue with charging, there's not enough chargers, the usual things that we will tend to hear. However, these are more or less falling within the frame of the myth, right? The existing grid cannot support full electrification of transport, extra demand for electricity will increase prices for electricity for all users because of all the grid expansion that has to take place, and lack of grid access at highways and other roads. You're doing a lovely job in Romania now with the construction of the new highways. However, the grid is falling behind and there's not enough connectivity in those areas. So, what can Sungrow bring to the table, and what are the things that we can already learn from the PV revolution when it comes to the EV evolution? We saw the numbers in the morning. They don't look like a revolution, I'm afraid. We're still in the evolution stage. So I took the liberty to brush off my statistics skills from 10 years ago. One of the a minor reason for a PTSD, a statistics course I did, and we delved really deep into the data that we have for our public charging stations, and we also dig deep into our PV inverter data. This is just a brief overview about the cumulative PV installations in Romania over the last 4 years, and as you can see, it is truly a revolution. We're more or less looking at doubling the numbers each year, and especially after 2022 for the distributed market, which is mostly thanks to Casa Verde and similar programs like Electric Up 1 and 2. And on the other hand, we also have the utility scale market growing rapidly. So, how are those related? How is e-mobility and PV related? We actually analyzed, mostly me, but I analyzed about 70,000 charging sessions of all our DC fast charging across public and private locations. And we looked at the data. And then we compared it to the data of PV generation. So, which are the months which have the highest solar irradiation in the Northern Hemisphere? I took a very simple location, Făgăraș, which apparently is the geographical center of Romania, and I plotted out the solar radiation of total annual radiation in central Romania. So, what do we see? That the months with the highest solar irradiation, which is of course the summer, also happen to be the months with the highest utilization of public charging network. So let's have a look. May, June, July, and August, we have about 12 to 13% of all the solar irradiation being received in the case of Făgăraș. And we also have a kind of a pickup of charging sessions also as the summer progresses. So May, June, July, August, we have the highest amount of solar irradiation, and we also have the highest amount of energy that is being charged on public charging stations. So this part, here's the takeaway. Despite not being a perfect match, summer's increased demand for public fast charging coincides with the annual peaks of solar generation. What does that mean? That solar can assist not just the grid, but also the rollout of the infrastructure when it comes to e-mobility. Let's look at another graph, the weekly patterns. So throughout the week, we have the electricity price that we usually have. Monday to Thursday, they keep more or less the same level. We looked at the data in the case of Romania over the past 2 years, and we noticed that over the weekends, we have the lowest price of electricity per kilowatt hour average. However, this is exactly the time throughout the week that we have the highest utilization of public charging points across Europe at our charging stations. So what is the takeaway? The depressed prices of electricity over the weekend could provide an incentive for e-mobility investors and users alike. So in a way, e-mobility can not only help keep electricity prices stable and stabilize them, but it can also help, or rather, PV can help e-mobility expand and be affordable. And we also notice that when it comes to daily patterns, there are certain similarities. For example, hours of solar radiation, it's not a secret, throughout the day, starting from 8, depending on the time of the year, to about 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8, we have, of course, the highest solar irradiation on a daily basis. Then we looked at our data, which are the times or what percentage of the charging sessions are taking place in a 24-hour period. And we see a graph that is extremely similar to the one that we saw for solar. And of course, it's not a secret. For public charging sessions, you're going to see a lot more charging sessions during the day when people are awake and round and about. So the hours of the highest solar generation follow or fit neatly the hours with the highest demand for public charging. And from statistics, let's move to implementation and real case scenarios. Not far from here, Gabi, yes, thank you. We implemented a project with AXIONET at the Agricultural University of Bucharest. Lovely place, fell in love with it. I got lost a couple of times, but doesn't matter. And we implemented a project where there was already an existing PV plant. And then we had one of our 30 kilowatt DC chargers installed at the facilities to provide clean and affordable charging to the students and visitors alike. So what is the important point here? That it did not require any grid expansion. We just used what was already there. We put a 30 kilowatt charger, which is very, very affordable and also very useful for people that are going to stay for maybe 1, 2, 3, or 4 hours in a particular location. And we managed to lower the levelized cost of electricity in that case, so both customers and end users alike can benefit from more affordable charging. Another very interesting project that we implemented, it's a factory that had a very limited grid capacity. However, it had begun electrifying its own fleet, and they faced a very normal issue, which is, I will need to wait for the grid for about 2 months, for about 2 years to expand the existing grid capacity in order to electrify my fleet. So it was kind of a chicken and egg problem. What did they do? They reached out They told us, hey, we need a one-stop solution with your inverters because we already have a small PV plant. We already have interest in batteries, and we've already electrified some of our fleet. What can you provide us? And of course, as a one-stop solution, we provided everything. We provided the EV fast chargers. This is 180. At the back, you see its little brother, the 30 kilowatts. We provided a CNI battery with an off-grid cabinet because in this location, the customer was also suffering from blackouts every now and then. And we provided the inverters for about 450 kilowatts of PV peak installation. And ultimately, what did this lead to? It led to increased resilience for the small and medium enterprise, that is our customer, 100% electrification, or rather 100% green energy charged into their electrified fleet. And last but not least, it saved time when there was no need to expand the grid. There was no need to wait for it. The change could happen today and now. And to conclude, and the main takeaways are ultimately with PV, you can already kind of use it as the low-hanging fruit when it comes to the electrification or the expansion of the charging network because the connections are already there. Demand for EV charging can act as a very effective buffer, both when it comes to the prices and when it comes to the excess or extra generation of solar throughout the year, throughout the months, throughout the weeks. And last but not least, the lack of grid infrastructure in well-sought location is addressable and solvable already today. On that note, yes, I will practice my mulțumesc Romanian, and I would like to wrap it up. Thank you.
Well done. Leave it here. So thank you, Chris. Now we go to the last number of speakers. I'm not feeling good having me between you and the lunch, but still we need to do the job. And it's a great pleasure to invite on stage the CEO of Hidroelectrica, Bogdan Badea, which is a long-standing top executives in the energy business. And I'm always proud to say that Hidroelectrica is the most relevant 100% Romanian company. You know, it's a stock market value bigger than 10 billion euros, which is absolutely amazing. Bogdan is the author of the IPO. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. It's a pleasure for me to be here. I'm one of the only participants that seems not to be from the automotive ecosystem, but in reality, I think the technological advance and what we saw in the earlier presentation put us together more and more, and I think what it puts together us is the energy. If we are looking behind us, the energy sector, the electricity and the automotive industry hasn't too many things in common. If we are looking what is happening now, and if we are looking to the technological advance and what is happening into the energy sector in Romania, but not just in Romania, worldwide, we understand that we are in a point in which we have to act together, we have to develop together, and we have to understand where we are now and where we want to be into the future. Hidroelectrica, it is the biggest electricity producer in Romania. We are producing green energy. We have in our portfolio hydropower plants. So we are a 100% green energy electricity producer. We also have now under operation a wind park, and we are continuing to invest only in green technologies. So the company will keep the green DNA, and what we are and what we want to be also into the future is the main stakeholder for the energy transition in Romania. We are not just the, let's say, a classic producer, despite the fact that we are the biggest, we have more than 30% market share, but we understand during time that if we keep the initial business model, we won't be successful on long term, and we also took the decision to become a supplier. So today we have the biggest market share in the supply business. We started from scratch. We built the business from zero, because what we understand into the energy sector is that if we are not able to deliver the final product, electricity, to the customer at an affordable price, the whole industry will be affected. And it is something in which you cannot be spectator, you should be players. So little by little we become a vertically integrated company. So now we are the biggest producer in Romania, we are the biggest supplier in Romania. And what's next? If we have a short review over the energy sector, and I think this is very important for also for automotive sector. The Romania traditionally was a net electricity producer. We are a net exporter. We had a balanced structure of sources: nuclear, coal, hydro, gas, and little by little renewables. But in time, due to the energy transition requirements and the environmental directives and what Romania assumed in front of the European Commission, we have a fast decommission of the classical capacities, especially on coal. So the phase out of coal happened with a very fast pace, but we are not able to put instead same technology, of course a cleaner one, in order to cover the gap. So in the last years we become net electricity importers. Of course, there were a lot of installations in solar, because also from the logistic perspective they are much easier to be installed. The technology is mature, the technology advanced very fast, and the price dropped down. So what is happening into the energy sector is that we have now a totally different structure, and this generates good things on one hand, but bad things on the other hand in terms of pricing. We have, as we saw in the last presentations, a lot of intervals in which we have overproduction with a very good price, even negative price in certain situation, and we have other intervals in which we don't have enough capacity and we have to import. So this is the snapshot of the energy sector now. Of course, Hidroelectrica, being the main player also on the ancillary services market, and we are the main ancillary services provider for Transelectrica, ensure the stability and the security of the system. Why? Because our portfolio is split between run-of-river power plants and reservoir power plants. Reservoir power plants means that we have the ability to store water, but at the end it is electricity for long-term periods. And this is very important for covering the peak loads during the evening, and of course to also cover the peak loads during the winter when we don't have enough solar intensity, as again we saw in the last presentation, which was very good, just to have an idea on what is happening into the energy sector. But on the other hand, we need more and more storage capacity, let's call it shorter storage capacities, for moving the overproduction during the middle of the day into the evening or into the night. So here the storage, it is the most important thing, and I think also Hidroelectrica understand that, but also in the automotive, it became the main pillar to the transition from petrol engines to electric cars. So what we are doing, we cannot stay like this. We put storage, and we'll continue to do that to all the power plants that we have on the run-of-river power plants, and we make hybrid virtual power plants in which we put hydro, we put solar. We have a project now with floating solar, so we try to mix different renewable sources combined with storage in order to capture all the resources and to produce more electricity, and also be able to shift from the middle of the day into the evening. So I think this is crucial in order to make this transition lean, and also to make a sustainable development of the energy sector, also to be able to respond to the requirements. If we are thinking from the technical point of view. What it means that everybody could have a charging station in his own house. 20 years ago, if you have a 4 kV installation, this is something standard. So your installed capacity in a flat, it is 4 kV. Now you need 20, 30. This put an additional pressure onto the grid. This put an additional pressure onto the producers because we need more capacities. In Romania, it is very clear that the capacity in solar will increase dramatically in the next year. It is happening now and it will happen also into the future. So for that, we need more storage. What we are doing, we are investing in hydro and will continue to invest in hydro because the need for long-term storage, it is bigger and bigger. The gaps between the night and day will be bigger and bigger. So in this respect, we are investing and we are exploring all the possibility for invest also in, not just in the classical hydro power plants, but in pump storage hydropower plant, which allow us to move the same water from one lake to the other and produce electricity when it is needed. Secondly, we need more capacities. So for that, combining all the sources is one thing, but on the other thing is to be able to develop the system in a way in which, when we have overproduction, to be in the benefit of all the players. So here I think that industries should be correlated. Not in the energy sector, we are discussing about the same thing, about the actual situation, about what we want to do for short term in order to lower the price of electricity and become the whole industry and the consumer, for the electricity for the consumer and for the industry more affordable. But on the other hand, we should see also the future. And today here, the future was presented from your perspective. And the future look very challenging. Fast charging stations, which from technological point of view means a big challenge for the, especially for the grid owners. And for us, that we should be able to deliver the electricity when it is needed. Blending with storage ensures stability. Also, we have to levelize the difference of the electricity price between day and night, and again, storage is the key. So it is clear that everybody should invest into the storage. It is clear that in order to be able to deploy more charging stations, fast charging stations all over the country, we need to ensure the infrastructure. And here, Hidroelectrica want to be a key player. So we want to diversify also our line of business and to invest also in charging station. Because why? We are one of the only that we have also the fuel, the electricity. So combining what you need with what we can do, I think it is in the mutual benefit for everybody. So this is our view regarding the mix between automotive and electricity producers, stakeholders in the energy sector. We have to communicate more, we have to understand what the future brings us, and we should act together. And I think those kind of platforms, they are very useful for everybody because we prepare from time. We do not want to be as we were 20, 30 years ago. We know that something is coming, what until the last moment to say, no, it shouldn't happen. Because anyway, it will happen. And you can be above the wave or you can be under the wave. And what we want to do is to be above the wave. Thank you very much. It is a pleasure to be here, and congratulations all for what you have here because it is really amazing.
I also want to congratulate Bogdan to having him here. He's a big traditional partner of this forum. Thank you, Bogdan, for your support because it is always helpful to have Hidroelectrica. And it is also an amazing journey I'm discovering myself about Hidroelectrica because I'm an old friend of Hidro and Bogdan, and I'm following all the steps, and it's amazing how far this Romanian company went. Bravo, very, very impressive. And now let's go to another good friend and another partner of our forum. And this person is no less than the CEO of PricewaterhouseCoopers Romania, which will give us a little bit of deep dive in a different area, but no less important, which is the financials. Daniel, figures, please.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As Dan was mentioning, it will be a sort of different agenda today, but I also saw the Prime Minister Tăriceanu speaking about the same thing, so probably saying the same thing twice in a conference would make probably sense also for the public authorities to understand the message and signaling what we want to say. And again, for a change, I will switch to Romanian for making some sports. I see that you can also take your headphones, headgears, in order to hear better what I'm saying. Mi-am propus ca prezentarea de astăzi să răspundă întrebării de ce este important să vorbim despre un viitor sustenabil al mobilității. Ia să vedem, da, perfect. Acesta este primul slide și răspunsul, evident, se referă la două aspecte. Primul dintre aceste două aspecte este că vom avea un impozit nou. Probabil că știți, de la 1 ianuarie 26 există un proiect la acest moment de lege care, apropo, se discută chiar astăzi în Parlament, are aviz favorabil de la Camera Deputaților și cel mai probabil o să vedem întregul pachet fiscal 2, pentru că despre acesta este vorba, îl vom vedea în curând în monitor oficial. Iar al doilea răspuns, sau al doilea aspect, este că sperăm că România va face pași în direcția alinierii cu standardele Comisiei Europene și că vom fi pe traiectoria mobilității sustenabile, dar pentru a fi pe această direcție a mobilității sustenabile este foarte important să ne uităm și la pachetul fiscal și la ce poate să modeleze, să spun așa, această strategie. În ultimii ani de zile, statul român a optat pentru măsuri de stimulare a înlocuirii mașinilor vechi și a renunțat la măsurile de limitare a achizițiilor mașinilor poluante. Putem să spunem că e o istorie lungă, de aproximativ un deceniu, între 2007 și 2017, în care autoritățile au experimentat diverse metode de impozitare, iar odată cu renunțarea la orice măsură de taxare și, dacă vă aduceți aminte, defuncta taxă de poluare, deși foarte multe state membre au astfel de taxe, tocmai pentru a limita achizițiile second-hand, dar evident armonizate cu regulile și reglementările Comisiei Europene. Din păcate, așa cum spuneam, am văzut un aflux de mașini vechi în România și pare că acest trend și această tendință continuă. Haideți să vă dau și câteva cifre care ilustrează cu siguranță problema parcului auto. 7 din 10 mașini în România sunt second-hand și 8 din 10 sunt mai vechi de 10 ani. Există însă premize ca starea actuală să se îmbunătățească pentru că piața locală are un potențial și voi vorbi în câteva minute și despre o altă statistică, tocmai ca să vedeți potențialul de creștere din perspectiva creșterii parcului auto. Este însă nevoie de mai multe măsuri de stimulare, așa cum spuneam, de stimulare a achiziției mașinilor noi. Revenind la statistici, România, după cum vedeți, are undeva la 444 de autovehicule la 1000 de locuitori în 2024, cu 134 de unități sub media Uniunii Europene. Decalajul față de media Uniunii Europene s-a redus treptat din 2016 și există potențial să ajungă la circa 600 de vehicule la 1000 de locuitori în anii următori. De exemplu, dacă ne uităm la Polonia, pentru că mereu există această comparație cu Polonia, care evident are câteva aspecte structurale similare cu țara noastră, Polonia are 630 de autovehicule la 1000 de locuitori. Prin urmare, ar putea reprezenta o marjă de creștere și pentru noi, dar evident pe un termen mediu. Un argument în plus că acest trend este posibil este și evoluția matriculărilor. Dacă vă uitați, în perioada 2017-2019, înmatriculările au depășit 600.000 de unități, ceea ce reflectă creșterea puterii de cumpărare și încrederea consumatorilor în economie în acea perioadă însă. În perioada următoare, 2017-2019, de fapt după 2019, începând cu 2020, puterea de cumpărare a scăzut. Numărul la fel, 450.000-500.000 de unități anual pe fondul pandemiei, crizei semiconductorilor și al crizei energetice, care au condus și la o inflație ridicată și implicit o putere de cumpărare mai redusă. Dacă ne uităm la vârsta medie a parcului auto, vedem că România ocupă a 5-a poziție în rândul statelor analizate din Uniunea Europeană, în ceea ce privește vârsta medie a parcului auto, cu aproape 15 ani în 2022, pentru că studiul arată datele aceea care sunt colectate în 2024 pentru anul 2022. Vedem că România se situează după Grecia, Estonia, Letonia și Polonia. Principalele surse de autovehicule, nu e surprinzător, sunt Germania și Franța. De ce? O explicație, evident, programele naționale din acele țări pentru decarbonizare și întinerirea parcului auto, spre deosebire, aș putea spune, de noi, care nu cred că avem, la acest moment, din păcate, o strategie care să direcționeze și să stimuleze industria din această perspectivă. Astfel, mașinile second-hand ajung să fie exportate în țările din Europa Centrală și de Est, România fiind un beneficiar al acestor exporturi. Și, evident, asta nu face altceva decât să continue să alimenteze îmbătrânirea parcului nostru auto. În lipsa unor pârghii de încurajare a achiziției de autovehicule nepoluante și de descurajare a achiziției celor vechi, România, cum spuneam, a devenit o astfel de destinație, iar programul Rabla, deși poate activ sau mai activ în anii trecuți, nu neapărat în acest an, nu este suficient pentru a reînnoi semnificativ parcul auto, neputând contrabalansa apetitul pentru vehicule second-hand importate și, evident, mai ieftine. Evoluția parcului auto, vedem că a crescut undeva cu aproape 22%, undeva la 1,6 milioane de unități, între 2019 și 2024, ceea ce confirmă cererea crescută pentru mobilitate personală, însă vehiculele sunt în continuare preponderent vechi, așa cum vă spuneam mai devreme. Structura pe vârste a parcului auto, din păcate, nu s-a îmbunătățit în ultimii ani, iar trendul de îmbătrânire va continua și în anii următori, asta, evident, în absența unor măsuri corective din perspectiva înnoirii parcului auto. Prognozele noastre sunt că parcul auto va crește cu aproximativ 2,6 milioane de vehicule în perioada 24-30, până la 11,1 milioane de unități. Fără măsuri mai exigente care să penalizeze vehiculele vechi și să stimuleze achiziția de autovehicule noi, România va rămâne în continuare captivă acestui parc îmbătrânit, cu implicații evident negative asupra siguranței rutiere și procesului de decarbonizare. Dacă ne uităm la câteva bune practici, programele din Europa, programele de stimulare din Europa, am văzut care sunt principalele țări sursă pentru aceste vehicule second-hand din România. Cele mai multe programe vedem că se concentrează pe vehicule cu baterii electrice, în timp ce subvențiile pentru cele hibrid sunt eliminate treptat. Germania, spre exemplu, oferă scutiri fiscale pe 10 ani și reduceri pentru mașini de companie, iar din 2026 vor exista subvenții de până la 4.000 de euro. Franța acordă scutiri de taxe și un ecobonus între 2.000 și 7.000 de euro, inclusiv sprijin pentru leasing. În Spania există reduceri de taxe și bonusuri între 1.550 și 7.000 de euro. Italia, de asemenea, are scutiri pe 5 ani de zile și sprijin de până la 11.000 de euro pentru gospodării cu venituri mai mici, condiționat de casarea unui vehicul mai vechi. În România, cum spuneam, programul Rabla, început în 2025, fusese anunțat inițial pentru luna aprilie acestui an, cu un buget de 1,4 miliarde de lei, în cea mai mare parte dorind să se finanțeze achiziția de mașini electrice, Rabla Plus. Din păcate, programul a debutat de-abia în octombrie. Sunt convins că Dan știe mai bine decât mine acest lucru, cu un buget de 200 milioane, cea mai mare parte a fondurilor fiind direcționate către achiziția de autovehicule cu motor cu combustie internă, potrivit datelor publicate de Administrația Fondului pentru Mediu. Începând din 2015, PricewaterhouseCoopers a realizat un studiu, concluziile le vedeți aici pe acest slide, care să vină tocmai în întâmpinarea autorităților și a industriei, recomandând un set de reguli, un pachet fiscal de reguli, care să alinieze țara noastră la tendințele europene, tocmai pentru a diminua vârsta parcului auto și, de asemenea, pentru a reduce emisiile de dioxid de carbon și, în ultimul rând, de a crește siguranța în trafic. Din analiza noastră au reieșit 3 formule de impozitare, un impozit local cu o componentă de mediu, ceea ce vedem că face guvernul după 10 ani de zile sau 11 ani de zile de când am inițiat prima dată studiu. Deci anul viitor, cum vă spuneam, apare o componentă de mediu și în impozitul anual. Al doilea element și a doua formulă, reintroducerea contribuției de mediu la înmatriculare. Vă spuneam mai devreme, taxa de poluare a fost eliminată, existând percepția că ea nu era, cel puțin la acel moment dat, nu era aliniată principiilor Comisiei Europene, ceea ce era corect la acel moment, dar nimeni la acel moment, în 2017, nu s-a uitat atent să vadă care ar fi ajustările necesare pentru a alinia taxa de poluare la direcția în care merge Comisia Europeană, din păcate. Iar al treilea element pe care l-am propus a fost o contribuție pentru circulația pe drumurile publice. Vedem că din ce în ce mai mult, chiar anul viitor, vedem și o rovinietă propusă în pachetul fiscal de care vă menționam, care ar trebui să țină seama de timpul petrecut pe șosele și de distanță, rovinietă care ar trebui să intre în vigoare undeva la 1 iulie 2026. Dacă ne uităm la ceea ce vă spuneam, pachetul 2 fiscal, ce au făcut autoritățile și ce vedem în proiectul de lege, cu începere de la 1 ianuarie 2026, vedem că apare impozitul auto cu o componentă de mediu. Va fi o formulă de calcul nouă bazată pe norma euro și capacitatea cilindrică. Din păcate nu cuprinde și vârsta vehiculului, pentru că știți foarte bine, norma euro are un segment de timp mai îndelungat, pot fi chiar 5 ani de zile, iar multiplicatorii stabiliți vor fi în funcție de norma euro în proiectul de lege. Mașini electrice vor plăti un impozit simbolic de 40 de lei pe an. În plus, așa cum vă spuneam, din iulie 2026, rovineta va fi calculată diferit și în acest sens chiar vorbeam acum, săptămâna trecută, cu un reprezentant al Guvernului, că sunt din ce în ce mai interesați de taxarea folosirii autostrăzilor de această dată și ne putem aștepta în viitor și la acest lucru. Ceea ce se întâmplă în alte țări europene s-ar putea să vedem și în România, nu numai la Cernavodă. Putem spune că noul impozit este un mix între formula de impozitare aflată în vigoare din 2017 și cea pe care am propus-o noi, PricewaterhouseCoopers. Totuși, așa cum vă spuneam, emisiile de dioxid de carbon, din păcate, și vârsta reală, să spunem, a autovehiculelor nu au fost luate în calcul, nemai vorbind că celelalte două elemente la acest moment nu există în legislație și e un pas înainte, cu siguranță e un pas înainte către viitor, dar pentru a simți ajustarea și a încerca să diminuăm afluxul de mașini second-hand, este nevoie și de alte formule de calcul. În concluzie, credem că piața auto are un potențial bun de creștere, așa cum v-am arătat mai devreme, tocmai pentru că există acel decalaj de recuperat față de media Uniunii Europene. În același timp, suntem într-un context economic incert și chiar ascultam reprezentanții Guvernului menționând că mai întâi trebuie să ne fie rău înainte să ne fie bine, deci putem să ne punem centurile de siguranță pentru a face față următoarei perioade, deși totuși economia mă surprinde, funcționează la parametri destul de buni în acest moment, ceea ce este cu siguranță îmbucurător din perspectiva mediului privat. Și dacă ar fi să mă refer la noul impozit, este, cum spuneam, un prim pas, după mulți ani, într-o direcție bună, dar nu este suficient. Pentru a avea întregul pachet fiscal este nevoie de alte măsuri care să vină în complementar acestui nou tip de impozit. Vă mulțumesc foarte mult și mulțumesc mult organizatorilor evenimentului.
Daniel, mulțumim foarte mult. Chiar a fost brilliant prezentarea. E un pic... Daniel are un șarm personal în a spune despre cifre. Eu, dacă aș vorbi de cifrele astea, nu sunt la fel de șarmant ca el. El are un talent în a le spune. Și dacă ați fost foarte atenți, ați văzut că a atins subiectul acestei taxe care e așa un melanj de trecut cu viitor, adică trecut cu prezent și fără viitor. Sigur, Daniel este un om educat, politicos. Da, eu sunt și educat și politicos, dar numai că sunt un pic mai acid. Și Călin a avut o alocuțiune pe această temă. Ca să fie foarte clar, APIA a făcut o scrisoare deschisă adresată primului ministru pe această temă, în care ne-am permis să-i spunem domnului prim-ministru că cei care au elaborat acest proiect nu au școală, n-au fost pe la școală. Nu trebuie să fii academician să știi că în Europa toată legislația are componentă de dioxid de carbon. Toată. Nu există legislație europeană care să nu vorbească. Eu mi-amintesc că acum 10 ani am fost primul din România care am spus, eu m-am săturat la Uniunea Europeană, la Comisie, numai despre asta se vorbește, nici nu interesau. 2. Din nou, Daniel este diplomat, Euro 6, a spus-o Călin puțin mai devreme, dacă ne uităm la Euro 6, are 10 ani. Nu trebuie să fii inginer, nu trebuie să fii dealer sau știu eu în lumea auto, să știi precis că o mașină fabricată acum 10 ani, pe Euro 6, cu una fabricată azi, Euro 6, nu are cum să fie la fel. Și atunci, sigur că toată povestea asta, că noi de fapt este o prostie și o lipsă de realism și de abordare cât de cât profesională a subiectului. Dar nu intru acum în niciun fel de concluzii, ci vreau să vă invit către următorul pas care mi se pare din ce în ce mai interesant. O să mergem până la Sir Ralph, care va fi, după părerea mea, deliciul acestui forum, după cum veți vedea cu toții. Și îmi face plăcere, e prima dată când vine la noi aici, să-l invit la microfon pe domnul Lucian Bogdan, vă spuneam, directorul Centrului de Cercetare și Dezvoltare 𝐻ORS România. Pentru cei care, vă rog, cei care poate nu e clar, e un lucru foarte important pentru România. Eu l-am salutat în clipa în care a apărut, pentru că grupul Renault, împreună cu grupul Geely, au decis să facă o entitate independentă. Domnul Lucian nu răspunde în fața lui Renault, ca să fie foarte clar. Are șefii lui, nu i-are pe ea de la Renault. Ei bine, această entitate independentă se ocupă de absolut toate formele de hibridizare posibile și imposibile, toate tipurile de tehnologie care sunt posibile și acum și mai ales în viitor, și tot ce vă spuneam despre teste are legătură cu ceea ce fac colegii de la 𝐻ORS. Ce e important pentru România este că acest joint venture, la care s-a adagat și Aramco, sunt sigur că o să vă spună și el toate detaliile, e bine, acest joint venture există în România, vă spuneam și la început, funcționează, are oameni, are fabrici, are centru de testare, centru de dezvoltare. Asta este extraordinar. România e una din cele 3 locuri importante pentru 𝐻ORS, care, iarăși, Lucian o să vă dea, sunt cifre absolut spectaculoase și închid până a vă spune că 𝐻ORS nu se adresează doar grupului Renault sau doar grupului Geely și, nu știu dacă are voie să vă spună, eu vă pot confirma, deja sunt 3 noi producători care au apelat la serviciile lui 𝐻ORS și care nu sunt nici în alianța Renault-Nissan, nici între brandurile lui Geely. Lucian?
Da, mulțumesc mult pentru introducere și mulțumesc pentru oportunitate de asemenea. Într-adevăr, este prima prezență a 𝐻ORS la un astfel de eveniment. Aici, în România, este adevărat. și mulțumesc domnule președinte Dan Vardie, domnului Călin Popescu-Tăricianu și APIA pentru această oportunitate. În continuare o să vă prezint perspectiva horse powertrain a mobilității electrificate. Și așa cum în această dimineață a fost prezentat, există mai multe căi spre mobilitate electrică, electrificată și spre net zero. Perspectiva pe care o are Horse astăzi este una care se bazează pe mai multe căi. O să revin asupra acestui aspect. Dar înainte de aceasta, aș dori să vă prezint puțin ce este Horse. Pentru că probabil mulți dintre voi vă întrebați, este o nouă companie, este un nou apărut în peisajul nu doar din România, dar la nivel mondial. Horse este o companie nouă, într-adevăr, este o companie independentă, dar de asemenea este și o companie globală. Este o companie care are mai mult de 125 de ani experiență în producția, concepția, testarea powertrain-urilor, motoarelor cu combustie internă și acum mai nou a powertrain-urilor electrificate și pe viitor a range extenderilor. Este de fapt o companie care a fost creată acum aproape 3 ani de zile și face parte dintr-un joint venture între Horse Technologies Division, deci vorbim de fosta divizie Renault Powertrain, care împreună cu fosta divizie Powertrain de la Geely au creat Horse Powertrain Limited. Un an mai târziu ni s-a alăturat în joint venture și Aramco, care este un lider mondial în domeniul, în extracție de petrol, dar scopul Aramco în acest joint venture este unul foarte clar, este acela de a acompania sustenabilitatea și a acompania electrificarea motoarelor și a mobilității electrice. Câteva cifre foarte rapid. Vorbim de o companie care astăzi are mai mult de 19.000 de angajați în toată lumea. O să vedeți imediat după și detaliile. Astăzi producem anual mai mult de 8 milioane de unități, da, de powertrain-uri, motoare cu combustie internă electrificate, cutii de viteze pentru hibride sau doar pentru motoare cu ardere internă. De asemenea, suntem prezenți în mai mult de 130 de țări și pe lângă cele 17 uzine pe care le avem în toată lumea, avem și 5 centre de inginerie, din care un centru de inginerie este aici în România și sunt tare mândru de acest lucru și mă bucur să întâlnesc și persoane care au contribuit la acest lucru în ultimii 20-25 de ani. Vă spuneam mai devreme că suntem prezenți de fapt în toată lumea. În România suntem prezenți la București și la Titu, Centrul Tehnic de la Titu, acolo unde avem echipele care lucrează pe partea de design powertrain, testare a powertrain-urilor, concepția softurilor, un aspect foarte, foarte important în mobilitatea durabilă și împreună cu situl de la Pitești sau de la Mioveni, pe care îl cunoașteți foarte bine, facem parte dintr-un ecosistem aici în România. Dar de asemenea avem centre de inginerie și în Spania, și în Brazilia, și în Suedia, și în China. În câteva cuvinte, Horse astăzi înseamnă producătorul principal de powertrain-uri pentru cel puțin 2 mari constructori de automobile, Renault Group, cu toate diviziile asociate, Volvo, dacă ne uităm la colegii din joint venture de la Aurobay, fosta divizie powertrain de la Geely, și nu numai, vorbim de Nissan, da? Unde o parte din powertrain-urile montate astăzi pe mașinile Nissan sunt produse de noi și nu numai. O să revin asupra acestui aspect. Bun, în România doar câteva cifre cheie, vorbim de aproape 350.000 de motoare produse pe an la Mioveni, transmisii, de asemenea, vorbim deocamdată de transmisii non-electrificate la Mioveni, dar următorul pas va fi acela de transmisii electrificate, aproape 300.000 de unități anual și de asemenea o turnătorie de aluminiu pe care Horse Powertrain o are la Mioveni și este un asset foarte, foarte important pentru noi și pentru țară. Avem de asemenea centrul de la Titu, centrul de design Powertrain de la București și de asemenea o bază de testare la Rânca, care acum ajunge să facă 5 ani și împreună cu Ministerul Transporturilor din România am reușit să creăm această bază, fiind aș spune, o cheie de succes pentru validarea motoarelor noastre, a cutiilor de viteze, a hibridelor, nu doar pentru România, dar pentru întreaga Europa și chiar pentru alte piețe. Bun. Voi trece foarte rapid pe prin portofoliul de produse pe care Horse Powertrain le are astăzi și pentru a simplifica foarte mult lucrurile, aș dori să vă spun că avem 3 categorii principale. O primă categorie se numește Horse One și acoperă toate motoarele cu combustie internă non-electrificate. Da. Considerăm că aceste motoare sunt baza pentru a pregăti mobilitatea electrică pe viitor. Nu putem, și piața ne-a arătat acest lucru, nu putem trece de la un motor combustie internă direct la un BEV. Da? Avem nevoie de o perioadă de adaptare, iar aceste motoare noi le producem de la cilindrei de la 1 litru, deci vorbim de motoare care sunt relativ micuțe, dar foarte, foarte eficiente, până la motoare de 2 litri, care echipează în special partenerii noștri, Volvo, de exemplu, este unul din aceștia. De asemenea, producem și transmisii, așa cum le numim noi în intern, 3 pedale, da? Pentru cutii manuale și avem de asemenea expertiza în acest domeniu. A doua categorie este cea a motoarelor electrificate, da? Sau One Fusion, așa cum le numim noi, motoare care din concepția lor, din gene, au fost concepute să fie cuplate cu o cutie de viteze hibrid. Aceasta înseamnă ce? Înseamnă că motorul, el are pe lângă rolul de tracțiune, are și un rol de a produce într-o manieră cât mai eficientă curent. Da? Într-un limbaj cât mai direct. Și acest lucru ajută foarte mult ca pe durata de exploatare a autovehiculului consumul să fie la un nivel cât mai scăzut. Deci nivelul de CO2 final este cât mai scăzut. Vorbim de motoare pe care cu siguranță le puteți repera pe slide-ul meu, un motor de 1,8 litri care acum câteva luni a fost lansat și pe gama Dacia. Un motor care este foarte eficient și de asemenea din faza de proiectare a fost gândit în acest fel. Fac o mică paranteză. Cu acest motor, nevoia de rulaj în oraș este acoperită în proporție de 80%. Deci nevoia unui client de oraș este acoperită în proporție de 80% în modul full electric. Deci, practic, motorul termic nu are nevoie să pornească în funcționarea în oraș. Trec la cea de-a treia categorie și aici intervine de fapt noutatea. Vorbim de powertrain-uri pe care noi am început să le dezvoltăm deja de ceva vreme. Vorbim de Horse X-Range, vorbim de Range Extender Electric Vehicles. Deci vorbim de motoare care sunt foarte eficiente, încă gândite din faza de proiectare și de asemenea care sunt foarte compacte, care pot reprezenta alternativa pentru un BEV, pentru un vehicul full electric. De ce vă spun acest lucru? Pentru că, vă spuneam mai devreme, este un motor foarte compact. Ca să vă dați seama cât de compact este mai mic decât un troller pe care îl puteți lua cu dumneavoastră în avion. Vorbim de dimensiunile unei serviete, da? Este un powertrain la care noi lucrăm și cu siguranță va reprezenta de fapt, va susține mobilitatea electrică pe termen mediu și lung. Vorbim de un motor de 1,5 litri, vi-l voi arăta imediat, pentru că este oarecum o premieră, pentru că acesta a fost prezentat acum câteva săptămâni la München. Dar înainte de aceasta, aș dori să vă prezint pas cu pas cum vede Horse Powertrain reducerea emisiilor de CO2. Și mă voi raporta la ce există astăzi. Da? Astăzi avem în producție un motor de 1,2 litri cu GPL, care și în baza căruia am demonstrat că emisiile de CO2 ele sunt reduse cu 10% față de funcționarea în mod benzină. Este un mild hybrid, deci 48 de volți, deci putem spune că este un motor deja electrificat, cu performanțe extraordinare, care respectă deja norma Euro 6 de full, dar aici dau dreptate antevorbitorilor care spuneau că norma Euro 6 într-adevăr este etalată pe 10 ani de zile și s-ar putea să nu spună mult, dar de fapt un Euro 6 spune foarte mult, pentru că norma de acum 10 ani de zile, Euro 6, nu mai este aceeași cu Euro 6 de astăzi. Astăzi vorbim de Euro 6 de full, care este mult mai severă față de norma de acum 10 ani de zile. De asemenea, acest motor, noi din faza de proiectare l-am gândit să fie Euro 7 compliant, deci să respecte noile norme Euro 7, proiect pe care îl avem de asemenea în dezvoltare și vă pot spune acum că respectăm deja norma Euro 7 și avem oarecum genele bune pentru a fi pregătiți la timp pentru implementarea normei Euro 7 din ianuarie 2027. Voi merge în continuare către perspective, da? Și doresc să vă dau câteva detalii legate de un motor range extender pe care noi îl numim C15. Este acel motor de care vă spuneam mai devreme că are dimensiunile unui troller. Este foarte, foarte compact. Un motor de 1,5 litri, 4 cilindri, care poate să primească, poate să fie turbo supraalimentat sau aspirat natural, în funcție de nevoile clientului. Dimensiunile le vedeți aici și vă pot spune că acestea, într-adevăr, sunt dimensiunile. Noi le avem în teste pe banc și este ceva uimitor când îl vedem. Este, evident, Euro 7 din faza de proiectare și poate să fie instalat pe orice vehicul de la clasa mică până la LCVs. Vorbim de două performanțe de putere, deci 56 de kW pentru versiunea aspirată natural, 120 de kW pentru versiunea turbo supraalimentată. Este un motor care funcționează pe benzină astăzi, dar este deja compatibil și pentru e-fuel. Vorbeam mai devreme că e-fuel este viitorul și testăm acești carburanți, având în joint venture, evident, Aramco lângă noi. Ei ne pot pune la dispoziție într-o manieră foarte ușoară toți carburanții pe care îi vom avea în 5, 10, 15 ani de acum. Bun, cam atât despre acest motor. În continuare aș dori să vă prezint de asemenea un produs care face parte din electrificarea powertrain-urilor noastre, o cutie de viteze pe care probabil că ați văzut-o în Formula 1, dacă vă spune ceva e-tech, tehnologie e-tech, care este o tehnologie foarte particulară, dar foarte eficientă astăzi. Este o cutie pe care noi am dezvoltat-o și a fost inițial dezvoltată în Formula 1 și acum este IP Horse. Nivelul de performanțe pe care îl are această cutie de viteze cuplată cu un motor cu combustie internă este pe departe cel mai eficient powertrain pe care îl putem găsi astăzi în Europa. Când vă spun acest lucru, avem un studiu comparativ, cunoaștem concurența, testele le-am făcut, evident, avem totul in-house și este pe departe cel mai eficient powertrain. Această cutie de viteze a fost tocmai lansată pe Dacia, da? Dacia Duster, dar va veni și pe alte modele, dar aici o să las Renault Group să vă dea toate detaliile. Noi lucrăm, de fapt, la o a treia generație a acestei cutii de viteze, care va fi și mai performantă din punct de vedere emisii de CO2, dar și mai important, va permite rulajul în modul full electric o perioadă mult mai mare decât actuala cutie de viteze o permită. Evident, cu o baterie care să fie suficient de bine dimensionată, dar știm ce avem de făcut, sunt activități pe care le avem în curs și acest produs sunt sigur că va vedea lumina zilei în ceva timp de acum. Care sunt stâlpii, aș spune, inovației în Horse astăzi? Putem spune că avem 5 axe. Prima axă este aceea de a dezvolta și mai mult motorul cu combustie internă, da? Pentru a acompania tranziția electrificării pe viitor. Nu voi da mai multe detalii, dar acest lucru îl facem deja. O a doua axă este aceea a combustibililor sintetici. Cu modificări minime, astăzi, gama noastră de motoare suportă carburanți sintetici, între ghilimele, realizați în laborator, dar care pot reprezenta alternativa viitorului. Hidrogenul este de asemenea o axă. Acum rămâne de văzut dacă acest combustibil va fi adoptat pe termen sau într-o gamă largă, este probabil mult mai adaptat pentru LCV și de asemenea carburanți sintetici. Electrificarea, vă vorbeam mai devreme de un super hybrid system, deci este o cutie foarte eficientă și care permite funcționarea în mod electric până la 90% din necesarul unui client în oraș și până la viteze care depășesc 90-100 de km pe oră, chiar în accelerări foarte rapide. Deci lucrul acesta va fi un game changer pe viitor și suntem siguri că îl vom reuși. Full range extender electric vehicle, deci vorbim de motorul C15 de 1,5 litri pe care îl dezvoltăm. De asemenea, o altă axă importantă pentru noi este aceea de dezvoltare și de integrare a inteligenței artificiale în a prezice ruta pe care clientul nostru o alege să meargă din locul A în locul B. Pe de o parte avem un powertrain, da, la care ne raportăm ca o componentă fizică, dar powertrain-ul nu înseamnă nimic, de fapt, fără un soft calibrat. Softurile pentru powertrain-uri sunt astăzi dezvoltate tot de noi și, de asemenea, putem și integrăm în acestea toate componentele necesare pentru eficientizarea transportului și eficientizarea utilizării vehiculului, că vorbim de oraș, de urban, extraurban sau chiar rulajul în condiții de autostradă. Și a cincea axă este reprezentată de Zero Emission Engine, vorbim de motoare care tind spre neutralitate carbon, da? Și de asemenea avem deja și testele sunt în curs, vorbim de reducerea emisiilor de carbon cu 50 până la 90% sub legislația Euro 7 pe care de câteva luni am ajuns să o cunoaștem și mai în detaliu. La final aș dori să împărtășesc cu dumneavoastră care sunt căile pe care le vede 𝐻𝒐𝒄 în următorii 15-20 de ani. Există mai multe căi spre net zero. O parte dintre acestea vi le-am prezentat mai devreme, full hybrids, mild hybrids, plug-in hybrids. Cu toții mergem spre o mobilitate electrică. Lucrul acesta este aici și este o certitudine. Pentru a acompania acest lucru, considerăm că este foarte important să nu abandonăm, de fapt, dezvoltarea motoarelor cu combustie internă astăzi, pentru că doar bazându-ne pe ele putem să creăm viitorul electric de mâine. Bun. Vă mulțumesc pentru atenție și sper că prezentarea din perspectiva unui producător de motoare, cutii de viteze, vi s-a părut interesantă și sper să colaborăm la fel de bine și în viitor. Mulțumesc!
Mai țineți minte, do you remember that at the beginning of my speech I said that it will be a graph which will be presented by 𝐻𝒐𝒄, which will make a clear perspective, which are our roads to the future. This is it. The last one from the presentation. If I'm not paying attention, it's disappearing, you know? Da, ultimul grafic. De la 𝐻𝒐𝒄. Da, da. Acesta este. Dacă vă uitați, toate aceste tehnologii există și mesajul, inclusiv al APIA, este acesta. Hai să îmbrățișăm toate perspectivele, să lăsăm industria să-și facă treaba, să învățăm pe politicieni că există diverse perspective și, cu siguranță, că vedeți că e ca un tunel așa, te duce. Viitorul te va duce acolo unde oricum trebuie să ajungi. Orice altă decizie politică, am stabilit noi că de mâine, nu știu, motorul cu hidrogen este cel mai important și numai el există, este din start o greșeală. Deloc întâmplător am spus de hidrogen că este cea mai greșită cale, în ghilimele, din toate care există. Mă opresc aici, am să-l invit pe scenă pe Gabriel Ioaniță, vă spuneam, fondatorul lui Acționet. El e mai nou la noi în organizație, așa că dacă este emoționat, puteți să înțelegeți de ce este emoționat. Te rog.
Bună seara și vă mulțumesc pentru răbdare, pentru că este o oră relativ târzie. Mulțumesc, domnul Dan, pentru prezentare. Într-adevăr, cred că sunt cel mai nou membru al echipei. O să trec destul de rapid câteva slide-uri. S-a vorbit mult aici despre multe din punctele pe care o să le ating și eu. Baterii, energie, time shifting. Încep cu o întrebare. Este România pregătită pentru energie verde și electromobilitate? E o întrebare pe care am pus-o și acum 2017-2025, deci prima stație de încărcare pe care noi am pus-o în producție a fost în 2017. Nu suntem departe din punct de vedere grid, cât s-a dezvoltat rețeaua în România, raportat la nevoia evoluției unei stații de încărcare. În 2017 vorbeam de 22 de kW, cea mai rapidă stație de încărcare, la momentul respectiv. Acum vorbim de 1 MW, cea mai rapidă stație de încărcare. Gridul este același. Din păcate. Care sunt provocările? În momentul de față, operatorii de stații de încărcare, pe lângă faptul că nu cred că niciun operator din România trece de 5-7% grad de utilizare al echipamentului de încărcare în mediul public, există și alte bariere sau, să zic, probleme pe care le întâmpinăm în piață. Practic, energia a ajuns la un preț destul de mare, infrastructura nu există sau nu s-a dezvoltat suficient raportat la nevoia din piață și operatorii de stații de încărcare au un challenge dacă sunt profitabili și dacă pot atinge break-even. Stăm pe o bază de mașini registrate de 50 matriculate în piață, 50.000 plus. Da? Este imposibil să treci cu un charge point operator pe un minim de profit cu o bază atât de mică. Cred că raportată la număr de vehicule în piață, suntem cea mai mică bază din Europa. Posibile soluții, să producem în proximitatea locului de implementare a stației de încărcare, energie regenerabilă, să punem o baterie sau un ansamblu de baterii, să le încărcăm la momentul la care energia este la un nivel scăzut și să încercăm să creștem profitabilitatea de charge point operator raportată la traficul pe care îl avem astăzi. Aveți aici și evoluția luată de pe site-ul Opcom, cam cum evoluează prețul energiei în timpul unei zile. Practic, dacă nu implementăm o locație de EV charging cu o baterie de stocare, să putem să încărcăm bateria și să degrevăm și rețeaua de energie la prânz când produc toate sursele de energie regenerabilă, și să o descărcăm atunci când fie vine șoferul de mașină să încarce, fie crește nevoia în rețea seara când toată lumea merge acasă. După cum vedeți, diferența de preț este chiar de 4 ori mai mare. Evident, unul dintre problemele pentru care nu s-a dezvoltat electromobilitatea este și faptul că stăm pe un preț mare la pompă. La o stație fast și ultra fast, prețul de vânzare este 2,5 lei. Este un preț foarte mare dacă ne raportăm la cât costă o mașină, cât costă să ruleze 100 de km o mașină cu 2,5 lei pe kilowatt versus o mașină cu benzina de la pompă. Unde se poate duce, de fapt, un operator de stații de încărcare? Poate deveni un player în rețeaua de energie. Dacă rețelele de stații de încărcare adoptă baterii, ei pot deveni și interveni în piață în serviciile de echilibrare. Și, bineînțeles, pot servi stația de încărcare șoferul cu un preț competitiv ca să poată să atingă break-even. Aici este un exemplu. 1 MW cu 2 MWh, potențialul de saving anual este undeva între 25 și 35 de mii de euro. Avem cazuri, colegul de la Sangro a prezentat mai devreme unul dintre proiectele noastre, producție de energie în proximitate, fotovoltaic pe acoperiș, stație de încărcare în fața clădirii, baterie, să putem să luăm surplusul de energie sau energie din rețea, dacă nu produce suficient de mult fotovoltaicul, și să servim stația de încărcare. Este unul din modelele de business pe care le rulăm în piață în momentul de față, cumva pentru a găsi locații care să atingă un minim de nivel de profitabilitate să poți să rulezi o rețea de stații de încărcare în România. S-a vorbit la începutul forumului, s-a vorbit de sume foarte mari alocate stațiilor de încărcare. E posibil să ajungem ca în Europa de Vest să nu mai aibă operatorii de stații de încărcare suficient de mulți bani să-și plătească ratele la bancă. Deja s-a ajuns la mai multe stații de încărcare decât nevoia din piață. Ce ne rezervă viitorul? S-a vorbit foarte mult astăzi, dat fiind că noi suntem într-un proces în care dezvoltarea gridului este precum mersul Mercurului. Adoptarea tehnologiilor de baterie până la nivel de consumator, până la nivel de casă, poate să ajute semnificativ creșterea fenomenului de electromobilitate. Bineînțeles, sunt producători de mașini care deja au lansat vehiculele electrice, chiar și cele de față, care sunt pregătite, software și hardware, de bidirectional charging-discharging. Poate fi o soluție foarte bună și rapidă ca timp pentru degrevarea gridului în ceea ce privește situația actuală. Folosirea efectivă a bateriei din mașină pentru a interveni ca un jucător în grid și poate și pentru a face niște bani cu mașina ta, niște venituri suplimentare. Sunt deja use case-uri în Franța, Renault are un cartier în care a făcut un proiect pilot cu vehicle to grid și folosesc bateriile din mașină. Oamenii și-au pus mașinile la dispoziție și primesc și bani de la grid operator pentru tranzitul curentului în bateria mașinii. Scurt și la obiect, vă mulțumesc pentru oportunitate și sper că a fost cât de cât punctat esențial.
So, ladies and gents, now the climax of our forum. Pity that some of our colleagues didn't resist it to be here with us. I'm pretty sure you will, staying here, you will be happy because now is the right moment to invite on stage Professor Dr. Sir Ralph Spector. Sir Ralph, allow me to say a few words. Ralph is a personal friend and a personal guest, and he was in Romania a few years ago just for a few hours, because I insisted. And when I realized how meaningful he is today in like a legend of our industry, speaking, you will see, about things you even not imagine, because he's coming from huge experience. I said, Ralph, why not to come back? Not just for a few hours, for 2 days. And I was very surprised when he said, okay, I will do it. I have a lot of memories with him. We did so many projects together. You will not imagine. It's about watches. It's about space technology. It's about a lot of drive tests together. So we are, and of course, you know already that the best time when Jaguar Land Rover flourished was his time. Nowadays, it's a complicated situation over there. Ralph, it's your...
So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, more or less. Dan, thanks for the nice words, and I think you are now all tired and looking around. The chairs are more or less empty. Nevertheless, it's really a special honor to be here. Why? Because it's the relationship at the end of the day also to Dan. And it's an honor to be here to also then to offer the great or the grand finale on such a critical topic as the road to 2035. It's also a profound challenge, not simple, because the future is uncertain, but because our industry is facing multiple simultaneous revolutions. We are navigating a technological revolution as we move from combustion to electric and from hardware to software-defined vehicles. A geopolitical revolution. Or is it still the same? Because in the real it changes. The geopolitical revolution with new global players, new markets and new supply chains, and the societal revolution with new expectations for sustainability, urban living, and own relationships with mobility. So you see already the road to 2035 is not a simple path. It is complex and it's a totally new map. So let us look at the map together. Yes, thanks a lot, I will do so. By the way, now we are in the smaller circle. Who knows Mr. Aurel Persoux? Yeah, who knows him? Here he is. No, why he is not here? No, that doesn't fit. Yeah. It's forward, but it's by far we are missing a lot of charts. No. Sorry. I miss the truck car. So, just to continue, it's a pity that the charts seem not to be here. To look at the road ahead to 2035, it makes sense to first look back 100 years, especially here in this city. Here in Bucharest, a man called Aurel Persoux was born, and he was a visionary. And can you show me the image, please, of Mr. Persoux's car? He was an automotive engineer, and he was obsessed with one single concept: efficiency. Oh, that's the last chart. Let's start at the beginning. At a time, can you imagine, 100 years ago, where cars were just loud, inefficient boxes, Persoux was dreaming of the perfect aerodynamic form. Again, it's probably page number 10 or so. Let's start with 2. And he calculated that this form, from this kind, the best aerodynamical form, was that of a falling drop of water. And he then built the car you see here, the Pursuit teardrop, with a drag coefficient so low, it would be competitive with a 2025 electric vehicle. Just maybe we stop here. Pursuit was a real pioneer. He was a man thinking about 2025 while living in 1925. And now we are here. Now it is 2025. And he was asking the fundamental question of our industry: how do we use less to move more? A century later, thousands and thousands of engineers around the globe are still asking this question and are trying to find answers. They do this in a time when many consumers and experts question the need of private transport at all. Can you manage? Sorry, we don't have a connector. That's so let's continue then. The question is, have we reached peak car? And many experts have already proclaimed peak car. And in this scenario, the distance traveled per capita, predominantly by private cars, has peaked and will not fall in a sustainable manner. And the arguments are very well known. Massive urbanization. Soon 70% of people will live in cities. And a shift in mindset. Younger generations raised in the sharing economy are redefining mobility. It's about access, no longer about ownership. And so global market grows, shifts, and it shifts east. While the global automotive market has now almost recovered from the COVID-related downturn. Just to give you a figure, in between 2018 and 2020, the global market for cars was reduced from nearly 100 million units to 74 million units. So a shift with more than 20%. And now from 2020 onwards, it more or less came back over the 90 million. But this growth is more or less in a different region. Europe, North Americas are stagnating. And the growth is happening elsewhere, in China, Southeast Asia, and South America. In these markets, personal mobility, whether it's a two-wheeler or a family car first, is still a very powerful, deeply held aspiration. This new global map defines our central challenge for 2035. We must find a way to meet this massive, growing aspirational demand, and we must do it in a way that is both sustainable and affordable. And ladies and gentlemen, private transport still dominates. But also in Europe, the big car debate, often held in Brussels or London, ignores the reality of most people. As an engineer, I look at the data, and the numbers speak a clear language. The reality is that private transport still dominates. The facts are, the private car dominates with 82% of passenger kilometers in the European Union. 82% are passenger kilometers. And the crucial factor is where. And 90% of these kilometers are driven outside of urban centers, on highways, in rural regions, in smaller cities. Here, the car is often the only option. And ladies and gentlemen, I guess you all know, Mobility is the lifeblood of a flourishing society. Mobility is the key to accessing employment, education, and healthcare. And it enables social interactions. Mobility is a fundamental right. And that is precisely why our mission, the mission of thousands of engineers around the globe, to preserve this fundamental right by making personal mobility sustainable, is more critical than ever. And just to give you a hint about the consumer dilemma, it's cost versus climate. When we talk about sustainability, we must not forget, if sustainability remains a luxury good, we will fail. We will fail to meet our climate goals. The consumer reality, and the chart would show you the figures from Germany, so the consumer reality is clear. 71% worry that mobility will become unaffordable due to energy cost. And 56% say openly, in view of these costs, climate-friendly mobility is not a priority for them. And it's our collective responsibility to solve this dilemma. So there you can see this very famous car. And by the way, you see the farm, probably there. Do you have the movie? So there you see the car. And by the way, first time in the car industry, he moved the wheels into the body. And you see also the size of the wheels, you see the thing. Sensational. Drag coefficient of 0.22. So sorry, I'm an engineer. That's record at a time where drag coefficient was at 0.8 to 1. Thank you. So, thank you. And there, I guess we talked about this urban mobility. I will switch about it with, especially the young people are not interested, and you see it also in the licenses. They are really not taking the licenses as we did, just to be independent. There you see the huge dip, and you see how the market recovers. And then you see also that private transport still dominates. Unbelievable. Car, truck, rail, and so on. It's the car industry we really have to think about. And there you see on the right-hand side where this kind of traffic is busy. There, as mentioned, the consumer dilemma. If it's really too expensive, not affordable anymore, people will not take care about the environmental element. And I think that's very important. And by the way, some of my colleagues did highlight in which direction they want to go and what kind of development they would like to make. If we want to make this kind of change, we don't do it for the sake of making a change. We do it for something very, very special. We do it for a higher efficiency. And we must look at the well-to-wheel analysis. How much energy actually reaches the wheel? And don't think about the exact figures. It's not a problem anymore. The order of magnitude is what's critical. And you can see the current figures in black and in yellow, the expected progress by 2050. BEVs are the clear frontrunners by a far distance. Lagging far behind, fuel cell hydrogen, fossil fuels, and synthetic fuels. However, quite clear, hydrogen also has a potential in many other industries. But in passenger cars, battery electric vehicles are the undisputed efficiency leaders. It's just clear what we have to do. This is a message, I guess, also for the politicians. And they are just a drop in the ocean for niche sectors. E-fuels are much discussed, but we must be honest. They are not a solution for the mass market. E-fuels will be needed. In fact, they are indispensable, but only for specific applications where battery electric solutions are simply not feasible. But the globally announced supply by 2035 would only cover 10% of the essential demand in Germany only. So for passenger cars, they are simply too expensive and too scarce. I wanted to show you this simple chart to manage expectations and avoid raising false hopes. China has created facts already, and the Chinese EV market entered phase 3 in 2021. The mainstream maturity penetration has exploded from 14% to almost 50%. And the monthly penetration is now regularly exceeding 50%. The market has tipped. And the forecast for 2030 is now over 20 million units, which means electric cars will reach a sales share of around 80% by the end of the decade. There's price parity, by the way, already. And it's also important to note the Chinese government has drastically reduced direct subsidies. Instead, the government is investing heavily in the framework conditions, for example, in the rapid build-out of the charging infrastructure. So why did this happen that quickly? The path was paved by deliberate policy. The former Minister of Science, Technology and Transport, Professor Wang Gang, Dan, I guess you know him, who served from 2007 to 2018, defined the national transport and industrial strategy. And crucially, he consistently ensured its implementation. A model for Europe? Perhaps. Professor Wang Gang, as a minister, himself was an expert, highly educated, always curious, dedicated, and always extremely well prepared for every discussion. Now, the elephant in the room. The market research suggests BEVs are set to win the race. Skeptics, however, highlight the significant weight disadvantage due to lower energy density compared to hydrogen or fossil fuel. And just to put it in perspective, energetically, based on weight, achieving the same 490 kilowatt hours of energy is like replacing a 15-kilogram sheep with an elephant weighing over 3,000 kilograms. The weight challenge is being solved. Technology is not sleeping. As we see here, the specific energy density of battery cells is raising continuously. And new chemistries like LMFP and sodium-ion, as we heard already, are already in production. And all solid-state batteries are on the higher horizon. The weight problem is really shrinking. And the solid-state technology makes the 1,000-kilometer range reality. Earlier this year, FEV and Prologium Technologies presented a solid-state battery at the Consumer Electronics shows in Vegas. And this so-called large footprint lithium ceramic battery has an anode that consists of 100% silicium composite material, which offers a 10 times higher capacity density compared with the graphite anodes used today. Charging in just 8 minutes from 5 to 80%. So, depending on the vehicle segment and intended use, the LLCB allows weight saving of up to 300 kilograms or a range of 1,000 kilometers. In contrary to current liquid electrolytes, the applied solid-state electrolyte is non-flammable and increases safety against the thermal runaway. It also prevents potential short circuits caused by leaking electrolyte fluid in the event of a spill. So, the industry is coming up with the right technologies for an emission-free mobility. Now we have to bridge the gap from tech to adoption. Technology alone is not enough to bridge a gap to mass adoption. We have an infrastructure gap. We need a massive, fast, and above all, visible rollout of charging stations. Consumers need to build trust. And we have a grid gap. Our grids need smart grids, flexible prices, and bidirectional charging, V2G, V2H, to use cars as distributed storages, as we have heard also today already. And we have a policy gap. Government must build consumer conviction. We need smart incentives like parking benefits or tax relief, and must avoid detrimental policies that destroy confidence. Now, reefs. Reefs are the intelligent bridge. I guess especially also in a large rural country like Romania, I think you cannot wait a decade for a perfect charging network. We must be pragmatic. We need an intelligent bridge. And this is a BEV and reef strategy. So I contradict against the statement today that all of a sudden everything should be a PHEV. There's a huge difference, and we don't need these things. So a reef is not a traditional hybrid. A reef is in principle, you have also shown it, more or less electric car, a BEV platform that uses a small generator back only for the exception. And for the customer perception, the difference is fundamental. It's an electric car, but without range anxiety. And for a large rural country like Romania, this is a perfect solution for the transition. It solves the main inhibitor, lacking infrastructure, while immediately delivering the main benefit, better air quality also in city and less CO2. And this strategy was successfully proven in China. Look at the astonishing difference in Beijing's air quality between 2012 and 2000, on the right-hand side, on the lower areas. My father lived here 10 years ago, just 1 year. It was just great. You hardly could see any blue skies. Today, the sky is blue again. And it allows a country to achieve over 90% of the CO2 and air quality benefits today without waiting for tomorrow's perfect grid. When we in Europe talk about EVs, our minds immediately go to cars. But we are missing the real EV revolution. For hundreds of millions of people, affordable electric mobility starts with 2 wheels or with 3 wheels. So in 2024, the global stock for electric 2 and 3 wheelers was higher than that of all other EVs combined, PHEVs, passenger cars and commercial vehicles. This is a real mass market electrification. And why? Because for hundreds of millions of people, especially in the diasporan markets of Asia, a 2 and or 3 wheeler is the first and often the only form of affordable personal mobility. And the most important lesson from my experience at TVS, so in the 2 and 3 wheeler business, is affordability does not mean cheap or low quality. It is a mindset of smart engineering that delivers world-class quality at an accessible price. I'm incredibly proud of my colleagues at TVS. As you can see, last year they earned 7 out of 10 J.D. Power Awards for initial quality and appeal in India. Tell me any car company in the world achieving these kind of results. And that shows that high value and accessibility can and must go together. And this is the mindset that will win the global market on the road to 2035. Beyond the tailpipe, the zero waste imperative, electrification solves the emission problem and the energy density gains our impression. But despite all gains, we will still be dealing with a vast new stream of valuable, complex material. A typical drive battery with approximately 100 kilowatt hours of capacity contains 10 to 20 kilograms of lithium, 25 kilograms of manganese, 25 kilograms of cobalt, 25 kilograms of nickel, and round about 70 kilograms of graphite. And that is clearly material that must not be wasted. First and foremost for humanitarian and environmental reasons, of course. And this is precisely why new regulatory requirements like the EU's battery passport are rightly forcing the entire industry to embrace circularity. But it's not only just about compliance. It's a profound strategic and financial opportunity. It's about supply chain stability. Recycling decreases Europeans' dependency on raw materials. And with technological progress, this can become a very profitable business. And this is a chance to create and retain value in Europe, a fundamental advantage we never had with our dependency on fossil fuels. And the circularity mindset must be applied to other critical materials as well, like, for instance, the closed-loop aluminium recycling that was pioneered at 𝑭𝒐𝒄𝒊 Land Rover. And it means engineering for circularities from day one, designing vehicles to be easily disassembled and factory tools to be refurbished and to be reduced. And these examples hopefully show that it's about more than just the tailpipe emissions. Sustainability mindset. It's about an all-encompassing sustainability mindset. And a perfect example are the TVS Motor Company manufacturing plants in India. They are not just factories, they are statements. They prove that high-tech industry and nature can coexist. They prove that you can and you must deliver on all dimensions at once, high quality at an affordable price from a sustainable factory. And by the way, just look to the right-hand side again. 95% of all the energy used in all the plants comes out of renewable sources already. Or water positivity, no problem. Or more than 40% in our plants is just for nature reserve. So this is a new way also to produce. Now, electrification and a total sustainability mindset will help to achieve clean and efficient powertrains, which will also become affordable. But have we solved mobility? No, because we are still failing to solve two fundamental crises. First, a human crisis. 1.3 million people die on our roads every year. That is, by the way, in comparison, around about 8 jumbo jets crashing every single day. And over 90% of these accidents are caused by human error. And second, we have an economic crisis. Congestion. The average speed in London is 10 miles per hour today, as fast as a horse-drawn carriage 100 years ago. And this costs the EU, by the way, round about 110 billion euros every year. So, great progress, huh? Autonomy. The solution to the safety crisis is no longer a vision. BYD showed already some elements. Autonomy is a proven reality, ladies and gentlemen. Waymo, by the way, that's the Waymo car on the right-hand side. Waymo is already operating 250,000 rides per week and has driven more than 100 million miles on public roads. And the data is absolutely clear. The system today is 91% safer than the average human driver. And by the way, that's not PR, that's proven by a Swiss insurance company. So the technology works. The technology can save lives. And you may, of course, say that there are situations that even a perfect individual system cannot solve. The so-called edge cases. An autonomous vehicle sensors may be superhuman, but they are still limited by the law of physics. And for example, a child that cannot be detected by the sensors of an autonomous vehicle because it's hidden behind a truck. To achieve a true zero accident vision, we must therefore look at the system as a whole. And this is where networking vehicles with each other and with the infrastructure becomes essential. And this network creates a cooperative perception. Let me be clear. I'm not implying that by 2035 every vehicle on the road will be fully autonomous. I enjoy driving myself far too much for that. But I'm convinced the road to 2035 will be a complex, mixed environment. It will consist of autonomous systems and human-driven vehicles. However, cooperative perception will also benefit the driven vehicles and will make an ultimate vision of zero accidents. Zero accidents truly achievable. But by the way, there are also negative elements, because at the end of the day you need any speed cameras anymore. You will get all these kind of things automatically. But it will open up our cities again. The same network intelligence is a solution to our second crisis, congestion. Today, we try to fight congestion by closing cities for individual mobility. And this is killing also our high streets. And the autonomous revolution allows the opposite. We can open the cities again. How? By eliminating dumb infrastructure. Networked AVs don't need traffic lights or fixed lanes. They use dynamic routing. AVs eliminate the parking surge traffic, which currently causes up to 30% of the urban congestions. And one shared AV can replace up to 11 private vehicles. And we can convert vast areas of parking into parks, housing, and vibrant public spaces. This is more than efficiency. It's a new human experience. It's about democratizing mobility, providing access for the elderly and people with mobility issues who are often isolated. The population, as you know, over 60 will double to 2.1 billion by 2050. And so it's about revitalizing communities, flexible, on-demand transport for rural areas without having to build extensive, rigid infrastructure like rail lines. This autonomous future solves our greatest safety and congestion problems. But we must be honest with ourselves. This revolution is not a gentle transition. It is a profound disruption, and it triggers an unavoidable chain reaction. The first domino to fall is a job disruption. Level 4, level 5 autonomy will redefine the entire logistic and transport sector, displacing millions of professional drivers. I have always built my career on the philosophy that business is people. And so we cannot, as leaders, celebrate this new technology without simultaneously taking responsibility for those it displaces. And the human disruption is followed by a massive economic one, the end of the crash economy. Think about it. Entire industry built over a century, insurance, repair, the aftermarket, are based on the statistical certainty of human error. A zero accident would mean that these business models become obsolete up to a certain degree. So the OEM at the end of the day has to decide, are we poor hardware provider, a Foxconn for tech companies, or do they have the courage to become a systems orchestrator of this new mobility ecosystem? And to the political people in the room, this creates a social mandate. We have to think about it. We must start today to build a bridge for these drivers, a bridge for education, and we must invest heavily in retraining, transforming drivers into the remote operators and fleet managers that this new ecosystem will desperately need. And just to give you an example, this is not a theoretical problem for tomorrow. While we in Europe debate the disruption, US tech companies already implement the solutions. This is Waymo's partnership with the Bronx Community College. They are actively integrating autonomous system training into the curriculum to build the new workforce of tomorrow. And this commitment to retraining, to autonomy, and to sustainability is all part of a single holistic goal. The road to 2035. I call it, and I've called it now for years, Destination Zero. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our complete vision. This is the road to 2035. It's a holistic mission of zero emissions and zero waste, the sustainable foundation, and it's a human and economic mission of zero accidents and zero congestion, the autonomous transformation. Destination Zero. That's the vision. But to make this grand vision a reality, we again must be honest about where the battle will actually be won. And that brings us to a very crucial point. The race on the road to 2035 is not a race for hardware. It's a race for software, AI, and KI. And as a proud European, I must be honest, it's a new race. Europe is lagging behind. It's lagging behind drastically. And if you look at the leaders, they are not traditional car companies anymore. They are the Waymos, which is at the end of the day Google, or Baidu, or the BYD. They are software and AI companies first. 100 years ago, Aurel Persu was a hardware pioneer. Today, Romania is a recognized global software powerhouse. I guess you have more than 200,000 developers. So Romania can be part of the brain, can make it happen, not just the body. So really be in the lead for the future European mobility. So, ladies and gentlemen, I guess you all read these books about the Red Queen's race. There's a great task before us. We are all in a Red Queen's race. And just to quote, it takes all the running you can do to keep in the same place, or if you want to get somewhere else, you must run at least twice as fast as that. Romania, you have got the talent. Talent, ladies and gentlemen, is not enough. It needs leadership, it needs conductors. And I have offered you today a vision. It's my vision, and I'm personally committed to that vision. And we have to support, to bridge between policy, industry, and academia, between Europe, Asia, and US, and between today's hardware and tomorrow's software. And I can only invite you all to work together, to join forces, to make Destination Zero a reality. Thank you very much.
Și acum, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to make conclusions for another 45 minutes. No conclusions. I think it's fair to say that the vision Ralph submitted us could be a very good conclusion of today. Of course, there are local issues, as always. There are local topics we discussed today. But I believe the vision of Ralph, it's really a kind of wrap-up story of what we have today. So, thank you very much for being with us. Again, to all of you who managed to stay with us one day long without food, that's fantastic. So I invite you, I don't know if it's still, so we still have the lunch. It's 5 o'clock, that's okay. It's a late, very late lunch. Thank you very much, enjoy.